Guess it would be easier if I turned the microphone on. Thanks, Darren. Lisa. Now, you didn't spit out all your coffee there when you seen Bob doing all that, did you, Lisa? Hey, Ross. Mm. My Randy, what's happening? And Chris, the bug man. So, did Bob sign off, or is he still trying to wrangle them bees in? Mitch, Philip, Russell. Yeah, I had to turn my mic on. He signed off. All right, Chris. Yeah, he's going to be there a while, I would say, especially with the bees all up in the air. And best thing for him to do is just leave that box sit there. So, well, I've been went out this afternoon right after work and checked my bees, and the versions that I installed 2 weeks ago, all the ones in my nukes, I was able to check, and pretty much 100% take. You know, their queens are in, they're laying up things, so that's good. The I had bought about 5 or 6 mated queens, and last Sunday I went ahead and direct released them after being there. They were in there for 3 or 4 days, and hey, Kyle, and anyway, they all have taken. There wasn't, well, when I direct released them, the bees were on their cage and they were loving them and feeding them and all that. So I said, just go ahead and release them. I did have one that didn't take. The bees are gone. I did have one. I did like Brad up in at Faith Apiaries up in Canada, where I opened that cage up and she flew. And then I tried to kind of swat her down into the hive, and she did land on the hive stand, and I did finally grab her and install her into the nuke. But I don't know. Seemed like the bees kind of left, and she was gone too. So maybe they didn't like her. I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't get her in as I thought I did. So anyway. Anybody wants to come on in, let me know, or just click the link and come on in. It's nice to have somebody to chat with. Everybody here on the sidebar. So tomorrow I'll be going out to the hives behind me in my background and checking supers. I added some that last week before I had to leave and go out of town. And hopefully they're drawing some wax out for me. Some of the nukes actually were drawing wax. They were kind of honey bound in a way. So I got to go back out there tomorrow and check them. There's Philip. Hey, Philip. What's happening, Philip?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. I can hear you.
All right. I don't know how long I'll be with you, but I'm on the way to the farm. So out on the freeway, it seems to be pretty good service.
Where are you going to?
I'm going down to my farm. Going down to the farm. Okay. Check on the bees down there.
Hey, Brad. So is that where your bees are at? Or not?
Well, that's where most of them are. I've got some at my home in Capel. I got more than I should have there, really. I got a few at a bee yard about 5 miles away. And then I've got these down here, and this is like a 95-mile drive. It's a long way.
Yeah, it's a little bit far for keeping bees.
Well, I already had the property, and I'm getting into bees, so it's just it's where I'm catching all my swarms, though. I've caught 13 swarms down here.
Is that right? Are they your swarms or somebody else's?
I don't know, but they're probably a little of both. My first year, I only had like 4 or 5 colonies that I was pretty sure didn't swarm, and I caught about 14 to 16. But now I have quite a few colonies down here. But last year I had just as many colonies, and I only caught 2. So go figure.
Right. Right. Yeah. Now Russell and Koopman. Yeah. Do I have full supers? I have at least a couple full supers per hive, if not more than that. I'll have to get through them tomorrow and see what's going on. Here in Maryland, our locust bloom is starting to dry up. The blossoms went from yellow or white, I mean, to sort of a brown look. And then we had some cherry trees is doing the same thing. And the poplar trees are starting to bloom now the last 2 to 3 days in my area. So that'll go for a couple weeks, I guess. So have you got started honey, Philip, as far as, them pulling it in?
Yeah. This is my 3rd year to have bees down here, and the first 2 years were really disappointing. But when I was down here 2 weeks ago, I probably had a full super on 10 colonies, and then I added another super. I think I only had about 13 boxes of drone comb, so I'm pretty much out of drone comb. So I'm hopefully when I come down here today, all those will be full, and I'm hoping to put on some just foundation. We'll see.
Right. So how you doing, Rodney?
I'm doing good.
So what are you doing with your bees here lately?
Oh, trying to keep them in the boxes.
Yeah. Now where are you located at, Rodney?
I'm up here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm about 90 miles north of Bob,
Okay.
up near the mountains.
And what you say,
Spartanburg, South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess locust is blooming down there, or probably has been, and all that.
Yeah, the blackberries are pretty much done. I don't know what they're bringing in now, but it's slowed down. It's pretty rough.
Now, is blackberry bushes quite a bit of them around? I mean, we have them in like a hedgerow or something like that, maybe a fence line, but that's about it.
Yeah, they're everywhere here, except where new construction is taking them out, but there's still a lot.
Right. I was wondering about that. Yeah, I don't know. It's like say the poplar trees are coming in. That's a pretty big flow that produces a lot of honey, and it might have some showers. I know down your way, the storm that's coming up the East Coast there is supposed to be getting here tomorrow, but it might stay south of me in my area. It might have a few showers, as far as washing any nectar out, that kind of thing. But I don't know, like I say, I had to get out there. I had a couple nukes there that, they got built white comb on top of the frames and full of honey, and they got the inner cover stuck down. I'm like, all right, these guys, I got 2 of them that are like that. The rest of them are just the majority of my nukes were completely queenless because I sold them all with the queen, made some splits and sold them. So I have a couple of them there that seem to be honey producers. So I had one out there. I went ahead and put a box of foundation on there. Hopefully they'll draw it out and make more wax for me. Maybe a honey frames and stuff. Well, I know if I put drawn wax on there, they're going to fill it full of honey.
Yeah,
and all that.
I had a swarm I picked up that was on the ground, and they have just slammed that pro nuke out, and I've stole resources and stole from them, and they just keep building and building. So that's going to be a good colony.
Yeah,
really good genetics on that one.
Yeah, I had a guy that I had a young beekeeper that I helped mentor. He had sold a nuke to a fellow. He brought a pro nuke, and I was quite surprised about them boxes. They're a thin plastic, very flimsy. They're not as what I thought they would be, like really super sturdy looking
Yeah.
boxes and stuff.
Yeah. Here,
And,
you have to watch them in the heat. If they're setting out in the summer, I always put cardboard over them or a piece of plywood, something to shade them, or else the heat will just it'll melt down inside.
cook the bees.
Yeah, it'll cook them.
Yeah. And then I was looking at the slider entrance thing, and I'm like, well, the location of that is a little odd. It's up in the middle of the box, but I guess the bees will climb up in there and get it in and out of it.
Yeah, they land on the front and crawl underneath it, or they figure it out. They do well with it.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised too, but they're so
Um,
convenient and easy. You can just grab one, and I keep 2 of them in the truck and a box. An 10 frame deep box setup.
right.
So tall, I can get in the truck and leave.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because I like the idea of the lid where it snaps on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What, Phil?
I have one of those that somebody gave me, and it was really handy for moving the bees because, like I said, the lid snaps on. They seem to have a lot of ventilation, easy to open and close. But Rodney, have you left them in there for a long time? Because there's quite a bit of space on the sides of those outside frames.
Yeah, they will build comb from the side to the edge of that end frame if you don't watch it. That's the only downside.
Hey, Brad.
I do think it's really neat how you use a plastic Coke bottle to feed, and it doesn't drip down inside. It'll actually just drip outside the box if it leaks. I think that's pretty neat. Where you can feed them.
Yeah, the one thing about it is you can put 4 frames in them and just let them slide, let them be a little bit cocked in there, and you can put a 2 frame feeder in there.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, you can get it down in there because it's shaped like a wedge. You can lean them just a little bit, and you can feed them. You can put a 2 frame feeder in there.
I heard it the way that thing's made or something, that if you got 5 frames in there, it doesn't let the frames move. It sort of supports the bottom of the frames or something.
Right. There's like offsets, and they set in like little slot kind of deals in there.
I was pretty impressed with the one that was given to me because I thought they were just little cheap plastic things, but I think they fold that plastic such a way that I think they're pretty strong as far for what they are.
Well, there's 2 generations of those. I have the earlier generation. They're real flimsy. The top will actually sink in a little if it,
really? Maybe the one I got's a little newer. I just got it this year. It was covered with dust, but
yeah, you probably got the 2nd generation. It has different colored tops and all kind of stuff with them, but they were a little steadier. They're a little beefier box than the earlier versions.
Yeah, I heard that, and it didn't take them too long for them to figure that out real quick. They were only out a few months or something like that.
Right, but I got some of the first ones, and they were that way. The tops they'll just twist and flip and fly, but they work fine. As long as you know how to deal with them.
Right.
But yeah, in the summertime, you've got to protect the top of them somehow from all that heat. Especially down here, we get those 100-degree days. It'll melt them down.
Yeah, it's like I say, I run about 20 nukes for insurance purposes as far as my own hives, plus sell some nukes in the spring, and that's kind of how I started. As far as I used to watch Michael Palmer when he first started coming out and talking about sustainable apiary and nukes and stuff like that, which most people weren't using at the time.
Right.
And so I got a lot of nuke boxes and stuff, and I like them. They're nice and light and small, and then I got a dozen honey hives behind me there that I use. And the only thing is I used to sell medium nukes and deeps, but everybody is starting to go back to the deeps frames as far as buying nukes and stuff. So I switched that back over there. I keep a certain amount of them, let's say 4 or 5 of them just for myself as far as the medium frame nukes. So if I need to drop a nuke into one of my honey hives because it might be queenless or something.
Do you do all mediums, Charlie?
What's that, Phil?
Do you do all mediums?
I do all mediums in my honey hives. I started out with deeps when I first got bees. And, when you have two double deep hives set up, that top box, they'll fill it full of honey. I tried to pick it off at one time and like, whoa, this is like 100 pounds, trying to get this thing off. So that's when I started doing mediums. And it's a little more work to it, I mean, the biggest thing I like about it, I mean, if you take a page look out of like Stepler and your commercial guys, they all use completely deep boxes throughout. Deep honey supers, deep brood chambers. So everything is interchangeable. Well, for me, a 100-pound honey box, I just can't lift. So I just went the medium route where everything's mediums instead of having two different box sizes and all that stuff and two different frame sizes. And, but I did have to switch over to deeps on my nukes, like I say, because that's what the public wanted to buy. I kind of tracked it, and that was my number one sell. So I like the mediums. It's it's not that bad. I mean, there's an extra 10 frames, but extra, well, of course, if it was depending on what you're doing. I mean, I'm running 20 frames, two mediums as my single brood for summertime, and then I throw another brood box on top in the fall. Come July, I guess it is. That's when my honey flow ends right at the end of June, or maybe a little bit sooner this year. The way the flow's been going, and I will throw that third brood chamber box on, and they'll fill it up with honey and all that. What are you running? Deeps, Rodney?
Yeah, I run a deep brood chamber and a medium box.
Okay.
That's my setup. Summer, winter, I used to run two deeps, and they would take them too long to fill the second box up, and it would cut down on the honey that I'd get off the hive, and they never used the second box up anyway here in the winter.
Well, I found that in a two deep setup is they'll chimney up the center with the brood, and then on the outer frames they'll fill it full of honey, and then it's like, well, you please put some honey upstairs into the honey supers, and
Right.
then 3 years ago when I started this single brood chamber management system, I the guy was telling it was the guy that I talked to who was running it. He did mediums also, and so he said, she'll lay up those two medium boxes, and it forces those bees to push everything upstairs into those honey supers, and it's true. And really, you're saying like one guy says you're saying, somebody was talking about this. You're increasing your honey production. Well, not really. What you're doing is you're getting that honey out of that brood chamber that
Right.
you never would extract,
Right.
and you're getting that extra 30 or 40 some pounds or whatever it is in there and
Right.
everything. But I've had some issues this year. I don't know. I painted my queens, and I'm like, okay, it seemed like they were going queenless on me. And I know how to, put a dot on them. But I'm thinking maybe I changed the pheromone smell. And when I put them back in, they didn't like her. She maybe got bald or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
And
I've had less luck with the marking the queens. If I leave them alone, they seem to have less,
problems.
less problems with them. So
Right.
on from. I hadn't painted them in a couple years.
No, I mean, now something that I'm trying to do this year is like talking to Brad and James out of Canada and more of the commercial guys, is I'm trying to get my queens, a young set of queens, know my ages of my queens. And I got a lot of my hives there that are, I put 2003 or 2023 virgins in. I checked my nukes tonight, and all of them have come back good. And I'm like, okay, the ones I put in some of my honey hives, hopefully they'll be good. And and all that. So then I can focus on getting my queen age diminished down to where it's, at least no more than 2 years old. And that kind of a thing. That's my goal. And then I think I'm going to go on up. Looks like Phil's losing him maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm gonna put some go down to the what do you call it, the farm supply store, Tractor Supply, get some cattle tags, and especially for my honey hives, I'm gonna put numbers on the frames, and instead of, like you say, instead of worrying about painting them, take notes and say, okay, hive 1 is, a 2023 queen, or, or 2022 queen, or something like that, and make notes on that as far as queen ages, and make sure I know what my ages are.
Yeah.
And tweak that. And then I was looking at my first video this year, trying to push the bees down and get into single brood chamber management status. And that was last Saturday or Sunday of March. And I had used Apis Biologic, and man, the bees are just a horrendous amount of bees. I mean, that stuff works. And hey, Keith. And I had to come up with I'm looking at it, and I'm making too much of a mess. I'll say harsh on my bees the way I was doing it. Oh, he's got where he's supposed to be. Okay, we got ourselves a live show. What are you showing us, Phil?
I'm trying to see if I caught a swarm in this. I don't know if I can flip the camera around or not. Swarm trap.
I'm going to put you up on the main screen. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I don't think I caught one. I saw a bee going in there, but I'm scratching the back. I don't think I did.
No.
I don't think I got one there. They would be coming in and out. It's almost dark, but they would at least been guarding the entrance. I turned the camera off because I'm out in the country and it's hard to get reception here.
That's fine.
All right, I'm gonna turn it off and keep going down. There's my truck. I gotta go that way about a half mile, and then I'll be at my cabin.
Okay, I'll let you go back to.
All right.
There we go. So James was commenting where I had so many bees in her, which I don't know. Usually my setup for the winter is 3 medium boxes, and normally the bees go up in the 2 top medium boxes, and the bottom one's totally empty. You just pull it off, and you might shake off a frame of bees, and that's about it. Well, not this year. And so anyway, I'm going to have to come up with a different way of not being so get the bees all riled up and stuff. So I think I might do is go ahead and put a couple supers on right away and let them migrate up, or take that top brood box off, shake all the bees down out of that one, and then put a queen excluder, and then put let's say 2 supers on, and then put that brood box up on top, so they draws them up into those 2 other boxes, and then come back and go through the brood chamber and equalize it as far as the amount of brood, because I did find out that the only way to really, people talk about it in a lot of different ways. They'll say, well, we made splits, or we did this or did that, but it's all boils down to equalizing the hive out to where she's got plenty of room to lay. And I know James has made, I think, at least 3 splits off of his hives before the honey flow. But everybody talks about, like James was talking about, counting backwards before the honey flow. Well, when I get in my hives where I'm located, the honey flow and the swarm season starts all at the same time.
Oh, wow.
April, May, and June is our honey flow. April, May, and June is our swarm season. You got to get in there early, and also the equalization, actually that process kind of goes through the whole, those whole 3 months. Hey, Tim and Hannah and DC. But, it's
Charlie.
there we go. Yeah.
Can I interrupt for a second? I just found something interesting. If you can hear me, I know it's bad service. Let me show you
Yeah.
this. Put me up on the big hog. Shoot, it's too late. Ah. Sorry about that. It was a huge copperhead laying in the middle of the road. I'm sorry. It ran away as I walked up.
Okay.
That was really pretty, but I wanted to show that to you guys. Sorry.
All right.
Didn't catch it in time.
All right. Mark's coming on now. The queen rearer himself.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
It's
So, are we
cloudy
out?
and just come a big old rain here, so it getting dark quick.
What are we doing today? Checking cell builders?
We're looking for mated queens. Can you see?
Yeah, let me put you up on the main. All right, go ahead.
This here had a queen in it that was mated. I ain't got this other side over here yet.
That's your mating boxes.
Yes, sir.
You got to drive her down putting that smoke on.
They need a little feed.
That's what I was doing this afternoon, checking virgin queens acceptance and then also my mated queens. So far, so good.
That's all pollen there. Oh, yeah.
It's like brood to me.
That's lamb there. I see her. She should be marked. Yeah, they need some feed bad.
You got dry frames.
Yeah. Yeah, they just didn't had enough to get out and get anything much.
That's queen cage there. Now that was a virgin, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Now you
That's all laid up.
actually introduce her through candy and all that in a cage.
Yeah, I don't see her, but she's in here. Check one more time. There she is. You see her right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see her.
That's what I'm doing. Just out here checking.
So why do you introduce your virgin? Why don't you just let them walk on in?
These are some extras that I had. Just extras. That's all it was. Had to find something to do with them, right?
But you make too many of them, Mark.
Well, sometimes I have people that don't. Them right there, they're handy. Sometimes I have people that want them and then they decide they don't want them because they figure out they got too much to go through for virgins. I've always got something set up out here where I can introduce them. Before it gets dark, I'm gonna check my sales. If I don't lose you, Charlie.
You're doing fine. Just remind everybody, Gunline, Tim and Hannah are going to have a 500 sub giveaway tomorrow night. Tim, what time will that be? You can post that for us. Get stung, did you?
He got on me. He didn't sting me, but he got on me.
Oh,
All right, I'm gonna.
You see what that is right there?
It's pollen in it.
That's a patty plate. That way, the bees have 100% access to the pollen. There's no place for the beetles to lay an egg. They can't get to it. The bees can access it all the way around. Beetles
Bill,
can't lay their eggs.
did you catch a swarm?
Yeah, but that's cheating because I haven't been there for months, Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been having to leave them up because I just caught so many. I can't haul them all home at once.
I know the
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Tim and Hannah's giveaway will be 7 Central, 8 Eastern Standard Time. So check them out, subscribe, and you'll get the notification.
Yeah, I did a chimney bee the other day, and it was way up there. It was as far as that sky lift could take me, and then climb up.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Having a sky lift is nice to have. Boy, look at all them cells. My goodness.
Yeah.
At
Good.
1 meter.
One miss. 18 of them. And then it's a double bar, too.
There's 2 misses. 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 30, 36.
36 of them. My goodness.
2 misses.
Do you have better luck bar, Mark?
Well, there's honey flow on pretty heavy, and they make a cone up here, and the other frames squeeze up against that double back down there, and they don't seem to make cone near as bad. See what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can put them on the top, but I'm afraid they'll web them up, Instead, I just do a double on the bottom.
I made a double bar like that where you put 2 rows of cells in there on one bar. Kent Williams, had come up with that idea, and actually, Little Bits of Honey had a little video about that on how to do that.
It worked.
I just got my biggest problem right now is I don't have the resources, or I haven't had it, in order to make a cell builder box or grafting material because of where I'd sold all my nukes and stuff.
Right.
And I didn't really want to go in and mess up with my honey hives at the time.
Selling nukes sometimes can be costly. I found that out the hard way. This the entrance thing there to keep the virgins out, it kept wanting to fall on me, so I stuck it together with cone.
What's that, a drone or a queen excluder on the front.
Yeah, keep the virgins out of it. Well, it's about to get pretty dark here.
Yeah, it's pretty much dark here. It's 8:30 my time, Eastern Standard. It's pretty much dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
You're what, 7:30 right now, Mark?
Yeah,
You're
7:38.
Central. Yeah, 7:38. It's the same Central Time.
Just trying to get a little something done here, so I'll know, right?
And Randy wants to know, how long do I wait to check for virgin queens for laying? 2 weeks.
At least.
Yeah, I went in there, like I say, went in there today, and they've got larvae, they got eggs. Not so much on the cat brood yet, but they've been laying probably at least a week, on some of them. Some of them are just laying eggs, and then some of them I seen most of them, and then other ones I seen the eggs, and I'm like, okay, on to the next.
This near's got swarm cells in
Yeah, big ones too.
Wow.
That's really
it.
big.
Yeah, they aborted the mission on that queen.
Well, I'll tell you what I've done here lately is that I'll take those swarm cells like that. And you don't know, that's the one thing I like about virgins is that when you put a virgin in a hive, when you put a cell in there, you don't know whether she's hatched. Put a virgin in, I did that same thing, Mark, that with the holes like that for your feeders for my cell board. And but anyway, I take those swarm cells and actually put them down in a hair roller cage and put them in my incubator, and I'll hatch them out in the incubator.
Yeah. Now I have noticed, introducing a virgin here lately, I jumped on them too early. They had just started laying, and they aborted the mission on that. Started their own because I got in there before she got laying good. I think if you leave them alone a little while longer, it'll help you.
So you're saying to put your virgin in, and then instead of waiting 2 weeks,
Make it 3,
make it
because
3.
I have went out there and seen eggs and thought, okay. So then I went back out there. They killed her and started their own.
Really?
I think a lot of it was because I got in there too early. There was just eggs in there, right?
Yep.
I think I got in there too early, pushing the issue. That's my opinion. I may be wrong. I think it's my fault.
All right. Well, I'm gonna. Phil wants to. He's got some stuff to show here, Mark.
All right, buddy.
I'll
get out of here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, come on in after you go into the shed. All right. What do we got, Phil?
It's just my bee yard out here. It's almost dark, so
nice.
they're all. Yeah.
Nice looking. Yeah. What do you got? About 30 hives there.
It'll hold 27, and I have 28 spots, but I probably have. I don't know. Let me see, one. Some of these don't have bees in them, but I probably have 25 or so out here.
It looks like to me you got 2 of my boxes over there.
Which one's that?
That yellow one and that purple one there.
Really? Yeah, those were the part of the boxes that I bought when I first started. They're 8 frames. I call those the LSU bees.
Mm. Well, I see you got a fence up. Do you have a bear problem there?
No, we have cows, and
Okay.
there are wild pigs out here too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Cows will knock
Yeah.
these. They'll try to scratch on them and knock them over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a typical cow and everything.
Anyway, that's all I was going to show you guys.
All right. Well, I see you did have a swarm box there. I seen while Mike was talking. I think it was Mark was talking.
I mean, we've got, I don't know how to show you, but there's a few bees there.
Mm-hmm.
Go down the row.
I see you have your entrance reduced. It's not
Yeah.
wide open.
I left it that way at the advice of Fred Dunn, but I do have screen bottoms on all these.
Right.
I came out here a few weeks ago and they were all bearded all over the front, but I had the trays in the bottom. As soon as I took the trays out, seems like they're cooled off better and they're inside.
Yeah, that was like when I first started my single brood chamber. By July, the honey flow was over with, and I had them in 2 mediums, and they were bearding and going crazy. And actually, I had one that was going to try to swarm on me, so I went ahead and put the 3rd box back on and gave them room, and then that seemed to really help them out as far as, like you say, the heat and everything else, and all.
It must be on a pretty
And you
good
make
floor.
you make your own boxes, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I build everything. I build the frames too.
You actually cut them out, or you just assemble the frames?
I cut them out of 2x4s.
Oh, really? You actually make them?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make any sense financially. I just enjoy doing it.
All right.
I just use a starter strip at the top. I don't use any foundation at all. I use a wax starter strip. And I put fishing line in there for reinforcing, 30-pound fishing line. I'll turn the camera off to maybe help the sound better.
Yep. So, all right. That's all, Phil? Is that what you're going to show?
That's all I have. I'm going to walk over here to my tank or my pond and see if there's anything worth seeing over here. I'll turn the camera back on if it is.
Okay. So, how's Minnesota Mike doing tonight?
Oh, hey, Mike.
No, I'm having a good time if those people in South Carolina wouldn't stop calling me.
Oh, I know, right?
Who was that?
That's me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're just chatting about his basket swarm trap and some malware stuff on the computer. That basket trap.
Are you talking about the scoop and score, the wire mesh trash can to catch them in?
Wire mesh trash can. Thank you. The power of the bucket. That's another one that we're
Bucket.
going to
Yeah.
we're
All
going to
right,
have to
I'm going
codify
to
that.
switch over here to the pond view.
Oh,
Hold
yeah.
on.
What you got?
What you got, Phil? That's a pretty looking pond.
My little pond. It's full of water. It's nice right now.
You got any fish in there?
Yeah, I guess. I haven't fished it in a couple of years, but it was loaded with fish the last time I fished it.
How deep is that, Phil?
You know, out in the middle, Mike, I can't even reach the bottom when I stick a paddle out of all the way down in the water from my canoe. So I'd say that's at least 8 feet in the middle.
Very nice.
Yeah, this pond is fed by groundwater instead of runoff. So it gives me a good idea what the groundwater situation. Last year it got low, and even after big rains, it didn't come up because we were in such a bad drought. But that all ended, about December for us.
Boy,
Thank
that's
goodness.
a good sign.
All right.
All right, you can take me off of there.
All right, Phil.
Thanks for
See if I can
showing
get
us
that
that.
back out. Now we got
There he is.
we got a big star here.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's better looking than the pond.
Yeah, he woke up, so I had to go get him. This is Mr. our 1-year-old.
Really?
Yep. That's one heck of a sumo wrestler.
Oh, I'm telling you.
No, he's definitely there. So, Charlie, how's your weather out there? Were you getting any of the rain that they were getting in Tennessee? No, you weren't. It wasn't coming there.
No.
Yeah.
It rained here. I was in West Virginia last Saturday. It rained there, and it rained also here at my place in Maryland. Um, I won't say it showered. It wasn't one of them really downpour type of things, and it was the same way in West Virginia. It would shower and then slow up and shower and slow up. So it wasn't a severely downpour type of thing. Hey, Lee. And I came home Sunday morning. I got back by 10 o'clock Sunday morning, and it was a beautiful day like it was today. Sunny, not too overly, maybe 70 degrees. And now tonight they're saying the rain that Bob was talking about coming up the coast, it's supposed to get here, but I think it's going to be sort of splitting off, going out towards the ocean. So we might get some showers out of it, spotty showers throughout the day, and then more so of there's supposed to be a pretty good slug of rain coming in from the west. I think around 9 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So I'll be unplugging all the phone lines and stuff like that and computers. And we seem to get hit with electric strikes, especially on our business phone and stuff. So that's what's happening here. Honey's flowing. Poplar is flowing. The locust is drying up. The cherry trees are drying up. I don't know how. I guess locusts or poplar will be running for a couple weeks. And it hasn't, like you say, it hasn't been a washout as far as like some years I call them the locust rains, where as soon as the locust starts to bloom, it'll rain for a week every day. And it's like, well, there goes your honey crop and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. We'll see what happens this year on my honey crop. I got a bunch of supers. I was spot checking tonight. Some of them I had put some foundation on. Some of them, they've been pulling it out. Some of them haven't. I've been helping a new beekeeper, maybe an eighth of a mile up the road from me. And he has 8 frame equipment. And, we were doing some equalization to keep this one. He has one hive that's really strong and really good queen. And we're had some other hives there. He had 3 of them that I think were going queenless on him. And one of them, we were making a split where early on we put queen cells in there, and she's gotten mated. And then we added frames of cat brood to kind of boost that hive up. And so anyway, so that's working out. And then a friend of mine called me up, and he did a cutout. So he had a virgin queen and some queen cells. So we 8 o'clock at night, dark. We were in there with a flashlight, pulling the supers away and taking the queen excluder away and letting that virgin walk in. And then I took the queen cells home, and that was just something kind of new. I said, well, let's see what happens in the incubator. And I would check them morning, noon, and night, because I didn't know what the time frame was. And so it was 2 nights ago. Went downstairs, and sure enough, I had 2 virgins. So I went ahead and fed them, and he picked them up the next morning and put them in the hives up there for himself. So now I think he's queen right, or at least he should be. The only problem I find with my hatching queen or virgins in there is trying to feed them. I haven't quite. I think maybe a syringe or something like that, so I can just put a bit of honey in the one capped in or something like that. I've been trying to use my finger and just kind of spread it on the mesh of the cage. That doesn't seem to be working too well. These last 2, they seem to be a little sticky looking.
Yeah, I use a toothpick.
Here's Bob.
Yeah, and I was using.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Bob. Now he's gone.
I use a toothpick, Charlie, to put drops of honey It's just enough to like dot one of the squares in the screen.
Right. Well, I seen some other folks, on that her roller coat, you pop that bottom off and there's little divots in there. And I've seen them put a little thing in there like that. Let's see if Bob's trying to get back on. You there, Bob?
Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Sorry about that, guys. I was trying to. My camera for some reason was showing the wrong way, and it's just dark. So I flipped it around, and then just said, "There." I heard you say, "There's Bob," and then all of a sudden, bloop! I was out. So, you guys doing all right tonight?
Yep. So did you get the swarm captured, or did you leave the box there?
No, we sat there and had an adult beverage while they were moving in. Then closed it down, and they're in the back of the truck. So yeah, we got them. They had been in there because they had some comb sections already drawn out. They just never noticed them, right? So yeah, it was actually a removal, I guess, best way to put it. And so yeah, we got them. They were in a speaker, so that's why it was Panic at the Disco. They moved in that big, like, 1980s giant club speaker that they had on their back porch. So they were going in and out of the vents on the sides. So they had a nice little cavity right there. We got them.
Yep. Very good.
I'm about probably five or so minutes from home. I'll join back when I get to the house.
All right. Very good. We'll catch you later.
All right, see you in a minute.
Yeah, I wonder if the speaker survived.
What's that, Rodney?
Speaker survived the cutout.
Yeah, I think it wasn't a cutout. Let's put it down.
Yeah.
Now, Phil, you're in your cabin you got there, your farm cabin.
Yeah, I'm out on the front. I call it the porch. It's a dirt floor, but yeah, I'm out front of the cabin.
Mm.
You can tell I'm a beekeeper because if you look back here, every spot on the table that you should be cooking on is covered with bee equipment.
Yeah.
That's such a
Right. Russell wants to know what's after my poplar flow. Really, Russell, there's not much as far as a great nectar flow after that. There might be some aster. There might be some later in the year there'll be asters, and there'll be what do you call it? Goldenrod, but that really doesn't bring a nectar source in. It's more of a pollen thing. And then last year, for the first time, we actually had a flow in August, and that was the spotter lanternfly. It invaded our area. It's a bug from China that came in on a pile of rocks, and it excretes honeydew, I guess you'd call it. And the bees make honey out of it. And so I actually let that stay in there, and they fed on it throughout the summertime.
Charlie, didn't you mention once that you parked your car underneath the tree and it was just full of
you can park I parked my car underneath the tree, and it looked like it was raining on my car, and it's sticky everywhere. And the honeybee come.
What does the honey taste like?
Just kind of smoky barbecue taste to it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I'd like to try that.
I have a bottle of it from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, our the honeydew that we get out of the forest here, the wildlife refuge, it really is a wonderful dark complex, but it's so light. It's they don't bring that much in, but it's enough that you can really notice the difference. And it's funny because I'll give them the plain wildflower, people that try it, and I try have some try with that particular type of honeydew. And I think it's a little bit more akin to what they have in the Black Forest in Germany and also in Turkey. It really, people prefer it, but again, I don't know exactly what it is that's bringing it in, because I've walked through those pine trees and the forest, and I'm not seeing.
Yeah,
the
as
drop.
far as this there spotter lambfly, it's the feces is what they're bringing in.
Yeah.
Of the bug, and then we don't have any basswood here that I know of, and clover. It's not that yellow clover. We get some white clover, but it's minuscule amount of nectar. And sumac, you know, I live in an area where they don't let a lot of that kind of stuff grow. I'm not even really sure what it looks like. I mean, I do, but it's more of a weed that most people will get rid of. So that's
So Charlie, what's in the field behind you there?
it's hay right in here. And then up on the ridge up there is it'll be either corn. I think this year they're planting soybeans.
Okay, when you say hay, are we talking about alfalfa or Timothy?
No, just orchard grass. We used to raise orchard grass, or not orchard grass, but Timothy for years, and it was highly sought after. But then it seems like the seed companies have, they change that plant, by bringing out new types of seeds, and it's real stemmy and stalky, and the horse people, the horses won't eat it. It's just too stemmy and hard to eat, and so they kind of shied away from that. And what they used to call junk hay, which was Timothy or orchard grass. And now it's the number one sought after hay and all that stuff and all that. So we have a big, hey, Tim, we have a big, a horse hay market here. And, so that's my son's taking that over. He's doing all the cutting, and he's doing things that we, like spraying for the weeds and like pre-emergence, where they won't let the seeds of the weeds grow to begin with, and things like that. And so he's selling hay, every 12 months out of the year, constantly buying and selling. He's getting ready to start cutting now, but the weather hasn't been that great. You need at least 4 days to get it dried and everything.
Well, Charlie, it's funny you should mention that, because the rain that we normally have here when my plum trees are blossoming is torrential.
Really?
And similar to what you were just talking about earlier. We just had the very, very light rain coming in. So, which has been interesting. We've had some really sporadic, the place is filled. Everything is blossoming. We're seeing trees blossoming that we actually didn't know what they were.
Right.
And, but we're also seeing kind of a weird configuration where like one part of a tree will be blossoming and the rest of it won't. Never seen that before. We don't know if that's from 2 years of drought or the roots didn't initially freeze down deep enough, because we had 0 ground frost this year. So,
well, what about here? I think it was yesterday morning we had a threat of a frost, and here it's past the mid-May. I mean, that's unheard of. But it didn't quite get down to that point, but it was cold. I mean, it was 50 some degrees in the morning, and by like 8 or 9 o'clock, which is normally it's 60 to 70 degrees.
Oh gosh, that's not frost.
And well, they got down somewhere around the low 40s, I think, in our area.
Yeah, so I asked my grandpa once, who's old Norwegian farmer, born in 1919, when he planted his corn. And you got to remember that was in the 30s, and from the 30s on. And he said May 25th, and I asked him why. He said because after May 25th, in all my 80 years, I'd never seen a hard frost. So we do get those wild spreads there and whatnot. I'm probably not going to stand here, but I wanted to ask Rodney, you had brought 50 starter kits?
Yeah.
And you're going to be open selling those to whoever?
Yeah, just the people around here that ask, they want bees, and they ask me to have equipment, and now I can say, I'll
So you've got them in case anybody's down there in that area. You know, you can look up Rodney. But what's in those kits? I didn't ask you that the other day.
It comes with the 10 deep brood box, a 10 frame medium honey super, queen excluder, bottom board, entrance reducer, inner cover, and a lid. And you have to assemble the wax
Okay.
and the frame.
Okay.
All the screws. I mean, it goes together real well. It's all dovetail stuff, so it holds up real well so far.
Yeah, it's you were a little sore after moving all 50 of those.
Yeah, they were heavy. It was 2,300 pounds on 2 pallets.
So, are you saying you're becoming a bee supplier or what? Or what?
Just for the people that ask for it. You know, some of the equipment's for me. You know, whatever I don't use, I'll sell. Hopefully, I'll sell enough of it to pay for it. You know, pay for what I use. Kind of
Right. These are just boxes and complete hive sets.
Yes, complete hive sets, and they're wax coated. I mean, they're not the fanciest thing, but yet the price point's real good on them.
And what company are you getting them from?
It was from Maybe.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and they're unbranded. You know, ones they didn't brand with their name on them. So,
Right.
So the price is because they less to handle them or whatever.
Right. Yep. Mark, you got a friend there, do you?
Yeah.
It's my mouser.
You got your mouth.
I seen him carrying him up there.
Yeah, he's my buddy.
Mark, how long are you going to be raising queens?
Yes. Will the mousers be raising queens?
Hey, Mark, how long are you raising queens this year?
I probably won't stop till can't do it anymore.
So for the summer? I'm going to get some from you. I don't know if you're traveling through this way anytime in the next month or two.
Where you at?
Well, I'm off of I-45 south of Dallas, or anywhere in Dallas actually, too, because I live near Dallas. There's that intermodal place that's just south of Dallas. You ever go through there?
I used to run Texas all the time. I don't do it anymore.
Well, you mail them, don't you, Mark?
Sir?
Don't you do some mailing of queens and stuff?
Yeah, I can mail them, but it probably costs about $130.
Yeah, I was trying to get a few of them, 3 or 4, but it would have to be convenient. Right now, Mark, I got hardly anywhere I can put them. I'm building boxes and frames right now, trying to handle what I got. But I just wanted to get some of your genetics and play around with it.
Yeah, all I'm selling is virgins. I'm pretty much keeping all the ones that I get mated, you know.
Sure, that's kind of what I wanted with your virgins and mated with my drones to see what I do with it.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't work out this year, we'll work it out next year.
Oh yeah.
So,
I'm thinking about getting another breeder queen from Shabu.
From who?
Shabu.
Shabu, and he's out of Nashville.
Okay.
And he out of Nashville, Mark?
Yeah, Columbia, right out of Nashville. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
So I got to ask you guys a general question because I've never done this. What determines when you stop making queens in your areas? Charlie, Mark, Phil?
It's it basically is the time of the year, and drone population starts to diminish, and it's harder for those queens to get out and get mated because of the amount of drones and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, after the summer Celsius, it gets hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. We go into a pretty big dearth from July and August. Then you might get a little bit of an uptake in middle of September, but that's a small window.
Right.
But The dragonflies and stuff get to be pretty rough around here in the middle of the summer.
I make a lot of splits, after I get the honey off and then try to make a lot of queens then, but right after that, I stop pretty much. I get what I get and I'm done. It just gets tough. There ain't no drones, It's like you're wasting your time.
Yeah, around here, I guess it is. Let's see. By July, that's when people around here kind of quit messing with. Sometimes they'll try to push into mid-July or late July.
Yeah.
Now, after that, it just gets harder.
I need to get my butt out there and make up another builder. Them out there are already sold.
Yeah. My biggest problem is having, like I say, right now, I don't have the resources. And the weather is more or less finally getting settled in. And, but I'd like to be able to, make my own queens. I enjoy that.
I love it. I like making honey, but it's a lot of work. I love making queens though. I just love it.
Yeah.
So Rodney, when do your hives stop making queens?
What's that?
When do your hives stop making queens?
As far as like the swarming issue or
superseding or what have you.
Oh God, mine will supersede them in August for some reason. I don't know why. It's just crazy. But those usually that's when I use up my resource hives because they'll go queenless a lot.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'll have 15 or 20 resource hives to to make that up. Or if somebody here needs a queen, I can pull one. If you lose a resource hive, you've lost 3 frames of bees. So it's not a big deal.
Right.
Yeah, you actually overwinter those things with how many frames?
Oh, about 3 or 4 frames of bees will overwinter here.
Really?
Yeah.
Where you at, Rodney?
I'm in upstate South Carolina. I'm about 90 miles north of Bob.
Okay. You don't put them on top of a hive or nothing with a double screen?
No. We have
James.
Of cold. We have maybe a week and a half of really cold weather. And I just push them up close together and they tend to do fine. In the cardboard nukes, they survive the winter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I look at cardboard as just a transport box and that's it.
Yeah, I've got some box they about chewed all the way through. I've used them 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah.
Don't throw it away until it's completely used up.
Well, I have people giving to me. They were bringing me those boxes, and I'm like, yay, because they're expensive to buy.
Yeah, they are.
When you're selling nukes and stuff, I think. Ziggy, how you doing?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Tim, we're all gonna show up for your live tomorrow. You gonna have a live tomorrow night, or is it just gonna be the giveaway thing?
No, it's going to be a live.
Okay.
Johnny with Tennessee Mountain Bees is going to help do all the technical work. So he saved us on that end. But yeah, it's going to be a live.
All right, great.
Wonderful. That'll be a grand thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, anyways,
you got over 500 now, don't you, Tim?
Yeah, I think last we checked yesterday or something like that, it was about 550 we've gotten up to now.
That's good.
Cool.
Like I said, we never sold it, but we appreciate everybody at the same time.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, y'all come join us.
I watched some of you were doing that one hive where you're putting some nice content out. People like to watch, doing bees.
Yeah.
And and everything in different ways, and everybody does their, different methods and ways of doing things, different types of equipment. It's always interesting, I find. It's like
Yeah.
Mark there with his dinner plate for the pollen and that kind of concept.
I thought that was pretty clever. I thought that was actually in a frame at first. Like, wait a minute.
My theory is if the bees can get to it 100% all the way around it, the beetles ain't gonna lay no eggs in it.
No. I've done the Ziploc bag deal where you put it in a Ziploc bag and just cut a slit right where the opening between the frames are, and the bees only access that part of it. That works too.
Yeah.
But I like your idea better, where they get on top and bottom, just wear it out.
Wear it out, yeah. And they'll eat it up quick.
Yeah. They don't have to drag paper out or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that I see a lot of guys that, I always try to pull at least the bottom paper off these pollen patties where it sits on the frames and let the bees get right to it instead of them having to work for it. Maybe it depends on how many hives you got and all.
There's a video out there of a guy that he invented it's actually like a feeder shim, but it's similar to what Mark's doing. But he's got like a 1/2-inch hardware cloth, and the pollen sits on that. But it's a whole piece that you add frame, and it's the same thing. It allows the bee to get to all parts of that patty, which keeps the hive beetles out of it.
Right.
I think you can use that for the was it the mountain camp sugar method or whatever? That white big fake wire, the newspaper on it, and put your sugar on it, and they'll get to it from underneath.
I did that, or I actually never did that. I like the sugar brick method. I tried last year, like you say, a feeder shim with a 1/2-inch hardware cloth. And then I did one with that same cloth and then put a piece of newspaper on it. And I found that it's like Mark's thing with the patties there. You take that brick and you make a little briquette, maybe a 1/2-inch thick. Just put it on top of the frames. That way they get all the way around it completely. Then they don't, like the one with the 1/2-inch hardware cloth, they were starting to build comb and make it was a big thick piece of candy, and they had like a dome inside there. So it was kind of a nuisance type of thing. I found it even easier to make, and just making a shim is a lot easier than worried about the hardware cloth and all that.
See, I do baggies too. I feed with baggies. I give the buckets up. It's just, I don't want to clean them. It's just an extra step, I can tear the bag off and throw it in the garbage.
Yeah,
Or if you poke the holes up close to the Ziploc, you can reuse it.
Oh, never thought of that one.
Yeah.
It's pretty clever.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Mark? Just throwing that pollen in a Ziploc bag, poking holes in it?
No, sugar water. Sugar water. Yeah, that's how I feed.
Well, they don't. I mean, how
still-
long does that last, Mark?
Depending on how big your bag is, and how many holes you poke in it. Now I still got some frame feeders I use. I like them, but it takes up 2 frames.
I don't like frame feeders at all.
Like on my builders, they're nice because I know I'm gonna probably feed them a little bit. When I feed, I just throw a shim up and fill a baggie up, and I've got a little dental tool. Poke a couple holes in it, and I'm done. It takes a little longer to fill them up, but you don't have to clean up after it and all that mess. It saves all that. Plus loading buckets, and it's just a pain.
Hey,
Interesting to pull up.
Mark, just wash those buckets when you're washing the dishes for your wife.
I don't wash dishes. I dry them. I don't do a good enough job.
Anna said, "What man washes dishes for his wife?"
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
There never was a man shot while washing the dishes.
Y'all gonna get her fired up, gentlemen.
She's probably watching in there on the TV, knowing her.
She's in there
Seeing what
making
I'm up to.
pies. Y'all don't make her too mad. Oh, and washing dishes.
Hey, I'm going to a baby shower with her tomorrow, so I get some brownie points there, right? But I'm carrying my fishing pole. All of us guys are going. We're going fishing in the pond.
Ooh.
Guys, my battery's just about out, so I'm gonna sign off of here.
All right, Phil. Good to see you. Thanks for all the video in your bee yard and stuff.
I'll get charged up, and I'll join in the chat.
Have you got my email, Philip?
I don't. I don't have.
It's flashm.mill. flashm.mill@yahoo.com.
All right, I'll send you an email.
Yeah, I used to be a Chippendale. They call me Flash.
Don't send me.
You believe that, right?
Don't send me 8 by 10.
That's my handle out there in the truck. Flash.
All right, y'all take care.
All right,
All right. See ya.
This cat's having a fit. I'm fixing to get him outside.
What's he want you to pet him all the time? Or he's going out?
Yeah, he wants to go out. Go on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sign off and take care of the kids. The baby's getting fussy, so
Okay,
I don't want
right.
anybody to have to listen to him whine and carry on.
Well, good to hear it from you, and glad you came on. You were one of the first ones to come on. It's makes it a lot easier on me if I got somebody to kind of talk to in the live area here, along with the folks on the sidebar and all.
Right, you don't have to bring up as much content, huh?
Well, it's hard to, it's hard to think about what to talk about, when you're just kind of talking to the sidebar type thing. I don't know how Cayman does it myself. Of course, he's answering questions a lot of times too.
I can't read that fast.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all later.
Okay.
Let me come on.
Take care, Rodney.
All right.
Take care, Rodney. Oh man.
So what's the weather like, Mike, up there? It's warmed up and got rid of snow and everything else.
Oh no, we still got 3 feet of snow.
You do?
No.
Really?
No, actually we lost it about about the last remnants actually left maybe about that little patch was about 3.5 weeks ago, and I thought it was that somebody had thrown some white paper in the neighbor's yard.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was the one. Yeah. No, it's actually great, and we've got the trumpeter swans. They're off the lake, so they're out nesting right now, and it's beautiful weather. I mean, I go out in the morning in my t-shirt and my boxers and have a cup of coffee on the back deck, and I'm happy. So it's pretty doggone good weather. It's not. We're basically what you're getting, Charlie, but we're about 10 degrees cooler. It's almost identical weather right now. So just kind of a nice thing there. But I tell you what, Russell and I were talking about, and I see Triton or whatever brought it up too. We did have the haze yesterday from the Canadian fires, and I think Brian said something about us coming down his way now. But I could look across the lake.
Yeah, they were saying here in Baltimore that there was the sky was hazy, or it wasn't perfectly clear, but it didn't look like smoke, and you can't smell it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, that kind of thing. But I don't know. It goes, it washes out of the atmosphere, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, I think yesterday was the first time that I could actually definitely smell it. So that was interesting.
I know I seen James somebody asked James, I don't know what night it was, and said that I think it was Ian commented on one of his videos and said that they hadn't gotten the fires totally under control. I'm not sure how that is right now, but
He got washed really good. I think it was last night.
who was that?
Up there.
So
Yeah. So in the meantime, gentlemen, I'm going to sign off here, but remind everybody in your lovely audience there to.
There's James now. There he is. Hi
And
there,
the boss.
Big Mount. Yeah, there's the boss. Hey,
Mike, it's good to see you, buddy.
James, what's the fire situation up there?
Oh, bad.
What's going on?
Well, what did they announce today? About 80% of these fires, I think they said, were intentionally started. So there's some news that they haven't let out before, but yeah, it's every single day you hear another community getting evacuated, or you hear about another house somewhere that the fire got. It's just it's nasty. It's just nasty.
Man, that's a good reason to carry a gun.
Oh.
I'm sorry you're going through that. That's just ridiculous.
Let me see if I can do this here. I'll show you outside my window, or at least I'll try to. How do I do this? Camera.
So what are you seeing out your window there, James?
Yeah, just bear with me here 1 minute.
You got it. Oh dear Lord.
oh, definitely. You can definitely see the smoke.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean, that's what we've been breathing now for weeks.
That'd be
Weeks and
hard
weeks
on
and
your
weeks.
lungs. Bad.
So,
Man.
but yeah, they're not far away. So,
Wow. Think the house up too.
oh, everything smells like smoke. I mean, you have those commercials. You go nose blind. I think everybody in this neck of the country is nose blind to smoke right now.
Yeah.
So,
Man, that's just wrong. Well,
anyways,
I don't know who this Bob guy is here, but he's clean shaven, so it can't be Walker.
No, I'm totally not clean shaven. I'm cleaner shaven than I was. So
Hey,
what's up,
you guys
gentlemen?
all have a grand night there, and I'll talk to you all
And
soon.
Mike? Oh, you're out,
have a good
Mike?
night, Mike.
I've got laundry going and some other stuff, and I apologize.
right.
God bless, and James, stay safe up there, brother.
We're trying.
Good to see you, Mike.
Okay, bye bye.
See you, Mike.
What's up, guys?
James was just showing the smoke out his front window.
I told him it's time to take the brisket off.
The brisket, yeah. I was gonna say we're smoking the cow on the hoof up here right now.
It's well done for
You
sure.
just had bacon in the front yard and you're good to go.
Yeah. Well, and it's hot. So it's 84 degrees Fahrenheit down or here as we speak right now. So it's hot. It's hot. It's dry. We haven't had any rain since the snow has melted. It's nasty. But the girls out at the apiary, somehow they're finding some nectar out there. So
You have the smoky honey this year.
they're starting to cap it already. Honestly. So I mean that's not a bad thing.
Looks like that smoke would affect them flowers, don't it?
Well, you would think so, but the apple trees are in blossom up here. My cherry tree in the backyard is just starting. Lots and lots of dandelions out there. So the willows and the poplar tree, of course, I think they're getting some from there too. So they're finding it.
That's good. So did you make a total of 3 splits now, James?
Some of them I'm on the 4th.
Really?
Yeah, and they are once again. I don't know what has supercharged my bees, but yeah. I mean, they've all got supers on them. They're drawing out the comb. So, I mean, I'm literally, everybody, I think, kind of knew a part of my battle this year was going to be getting them to draw the comb. But with a little bit of honey flow coming in, they're drawing that comb out. I've got my splits done, and yeah, I've got what have I got? I got 40 new grafted queens out there. I got 40 virgins out there, so they'll be going to mates here soon. I got 40 more about to put into the incubator. So they're going really well, and actually what was the first graft? I think the first graft I got 36 out of 40. The second one I got 40 out of 40, and what's the third one? The third one I kind of rushed that one a little bit, so I think that one was down to about 35 or 36 out of 40, and out of the first 2 rounds I had 100% hatch, so doing something right.
Yep.
And gorgeous looking queens. So
Well, I got my bees back home, so they're good.
That's
Out
good.
of the, did you see that out of the speaker?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
They some people that they might have even been a swarm of mine, like one of the swarms that I captured that just was out of the box, because by the crow flies, they're within 2 miles of me, right? And all of a sudden they had this big giant like club speaker on top of the refrigerator, and they're on their back porch, and the bees moved into the airports on the speaker box. So they were going in and out. So I had to take this massive speaker off the top of the refrigerator and unbolt the speaker and pull the speaker out, and it was just jam full of bees.
Did you get them out of the plantation?
No, not yet. It's been rainy and I've been working. So, and then I bought the car. So now tomorrow I got to go do that. And then I'm going to try to get them this weekend if the weather clears up.
Got her.
So
now you got to work more now that you bought the car.
No, I just replaced one payment with another payment. So, but you know what sold that vehicle for me? I said, this vehicle had to be made in Canada. Ford made in Canada. And you pop the back hatch. And when you pop the back hatch, there's a bottle opener is a standard item that's in the back of the hatch. So you pop the back up and there's a beer bottle opener right on the inside of the vehicle. I'm like, that was made in Canada. There's no other place in the world that could have been made.
I thought you were going to say you opened the trunk and a little white tag flopped down and said made in Canada. No. Made in Canada. Tuck it back in underneath the carpet or something.
And it's got the back hatch, how they usually have those pull out things that you like a shade to cover your stuff in there. This is a hard working table that's got it's got legs so you can pull it out as a work table, and it's got a it's got a yardstick on there, meter stick or whatever you want to call it, so you can measure. You can throw your fish up there. Whatever. I'm not cutting a fish on the back of the car because it would stink it up pretty bad.
Well, no, because it'll be full of bees.
Yeah,
can't cut a fish there when it's full of bees.
So after I told them I would trade in the Fiat, I was like, you know what? I should have just kept the Fiat, took it down, because it's the ugliest car ever. I should have took it down and just had them wrap it like a honeybee, and parked it up front as like a billboard next to the road, right? Whenever I did bee removals or something, I would drive the Fiat bee removal vehicle that looked like a bee down the road. Be the best advertising ever.
And then have 2 wings up there.
Yeah, wings, like the mutt cuts off of Dumb and Dumber, the dog van. I should have just made that Fiat the Bumblebee, right?
Eyeballs up there where your headlights are.
Oh, they look like, have you ever seen a Fiat 500L trekking? They look like bug eyes on the front anyway. So we upgraded. So I used to work at this Ford dealer, right? I was in sales. So I went down there. And here's the thing that I try to, and I know James will understand this 100%. You crunch the numbers, right? I know what they can do and what they can't do on a vehicle. And I was looking at the new Dodge Hornet because of the price. And I walked into the Ford dealer. Everything they had was $46,000, right? Because they have all these over retail prices that they put on there for like dealer incentive, right? They just marked all the cars up. And I went in there and I said, y'all are going to make me buy a damn Dodge. And they're like, what are you talking about? Well, I can buy a brand new Dodge, $35,000. Everything you got is 45, 46, 47,000. And he's like, no, you ain't buying a Dodge. Just pick something out. We'll make the numbers work. And so I picked it out and I said, I'm not paying this. I'm not paying this. And I'm not paying this. And they wrote it down. So I went from 44.6 or something like that, 44.9 to 33 grand on the car. And I'm like, all right, I'll buy that for $1. You know, I went ahead and signed off on it. And so I just, you know, but here's the option. You can say no. When you get yourself set up, you don't have to buy that, right? So when you're negotiating something, whether it's a business or whatever, you don't have to buy it like right then. You can always just leave, right? And then they're like, well, what am I going to do with like dealer incentive money, right? They don't make the incentive for that money is selling me the damn car. I'm not paying that extra crap, right? So when they met, and not only that, but if you're like Fords, like I do, they have other things like veterans. You get $1,000 rebate. First responders, $1,000 rebate. You know, so they've got some extra incentives. The interest rates suck everywhere, but I actually got a better interest rate through a local credit union than I did with the credit union that's holding all my money hostage, right? So it's and I did and came out of pocket $0. So worked out. And my wife's happy, which makes everything lovely.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's right.
But now she's watching videos. Well, this and that, and this, they're saying this on YouTube and that on YouTube. I said, take the damn car back. We haven't had it. We put 40 miles on it. Go take the damn car back.
What's the important question though, Bob?
What's that?
Do you wash dishes?
No, I don't wash dishes.
Yeah. Not me.
I couldn't resist. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a cool car. Guys, let's talk bees. I ride a mule. Ain't interested in cars. No money. But one anyway. Yeah, so things that's what's going on. I mean, I haven't even had a chance to go in the bees because it's been raining. So the most exciting bee thing I had was going to get them out of that speaker. So
well, I'm about to move my bees. Probably, well, it all depends. They're forecasting some rain for Monday, Tuesday, so we'll see whether that actually comes about. But if they don't, I'm going to start moving them from my 2 bee yards out to the rest of the bee yards, get them ready to go here for the summer. So
I did pull last weekend about, I'm going to say 140 pounds maybe of honey.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, I got the 4-H club in the morning, so they'll be all coming over and doing that, in the morning. So that'll work out pretty good. I donated 2 hives to them, and of course, from those ones, I haven't taken any splits or anything. But we'll have to get in and maybe do some swarm management tomorrow. But other than that, those, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they've got half of their first super filled up on that box there, so, or those 2 boxes. So they're starting to work it pretty good.
So,
Bob, did you ever hear anything out of that 4-H bunch that got your lure?
no. Matter of fact, I should send them an email. Glad you said something. Let me.
So
I
James,
wonder if they done any good.
You
Go ahead, Bob.
you
sorry.
made some splits. Are you putting them in your own boxes and increases?
So absolutely. So every time I do a couple splits, I sell some, and I fill some more boxes. So I've got all of my nuke boxes So what is that? 36, 39, 40 some box or 40 some hives out there. All my nuke boxes are full. So they're all sitting there with splits. There might be one or two. I ended up killing one queen yesterday accidentally. So, there's one or two that are like that there right now, but I'll drop a new cell in them and get going. So all of my nuke boxes are full.
Yeah, that's your 6-way boxes, right?
3-way. Yeah,
3
six
ways,
frame,
I mean.
6 frames, 3-way boxes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And now, do you take and drop a nuke into, let's say, a 10-frame box, and that'll take off, or that's not able to do that?
That nuke, once they fill those 6 frames, absolutely, I drop that into a 10-frame box, and away they go.
And you have enough time in your season to do that.
Still yet. I still do till now. Yep. So absolutely.
Hey, Nancy. Haven't seen you for a while. But but that's interesting. Yeah. How about anything on your upgrading your extractor line type of stuff?
Well, I am in the midst of doing some drawings. So I may. Oh, Bob got some more pens in.
They came in.
I may be looking at building some of my own equipment. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I mean, I've seen that wax. I don't think you have time for wax dipping now, do you?
Yeah, everything I've got built is done. So yeah.
I mean, I've seen your video or photographs of that. And it looked like a factory made machine there.
It turned out really well. Yep, I'm happy with it.
And all, but anyway. So, well, I know James. I don't think you were on here, James, but anyway, I had those 8 versions I installed, and as far as I know, all the ones in the nukes came back in good shape. They're all mated and laying and everything like that. And
excellent.
And then I had about 6 mated queens. 5 of those are in good shape as far as I can tell. What I did as far as looking at them today, and I did have one that I didn't make it, but I did a Brad where I came back Sunday and they were, they hadn't completely eat the candy out, and I went ahead and direct release, and that one there, it was like in Brad's last video, it wanted to fly and all that. So, but it did land on the hive stand, and I did actually grab it, and as far as I know, I mean, I seen her kind of go down, into the hive, but when I went back out there today, I don't know whether it was a split to where the bees went back to their home base or just what, but that was the only unsuccessful hive that I had so far.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
I've had really, really good success this year with with my grafting, B so far with the mating, and usually what ends up happening is you get the grafted cells, but there's always a couple cells that don't hatch out. And this year I've had 100% hatch, so I don't know if it's got something to do with the year or what it is, but I know I uploaded my Mother's Day video there, and I got quite a few comments about how come I only put 10 cells per bar, and that's something that I started doing when I first did it. I think I had it was like 15 or 16 cups per bar, and I found that I was still getting grafting success, but my queens did not seem to be as robust. Maybe that's the way to put it. So I put 10 cells per bar now. I throw 4 bars in that starter or finisher hive of mine and let it go. And It's really kind of I get less queens, but I get better queens. So
Quality
I'm quite
over
happy with
quantity.
that.
Are
Exactly.
they longer looking queens, from the virgin standpoint?
They
Bigger?
are. Yep. 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 They're really nice looking queens.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't know. I tried to do early queen rearing, and then as soon as I grafted and all that, and then I had a week's worth of cold weather, and that chilled pretty much everything.
oh yeah.
And then it was I was selling nukes, and I had a lot of hives sitting here queenless, and luckily I was able to get 8 virgins and from swarm cells or whatever, and got them in the hives, and I finally some queens arrived as far as the mated ones, and they're doing well. So now I'm kind of, I feel like I'm like, now I don't have to be sitting here on pins and needles. Now I got my hives kind of re-queened, and things are kind of settled back in. And it was like I went out there today because everybody's, I presume, has a queen now. From what I've seen so far, that the whole hive area, the bees are not up in an uproar. They're not running around stinging Canadian beekeepers or anything like that when they do down south.
That's those southern bees there.
That,
did you find that queen, Bob, or did you even bother to look?
Oh, I caught her. Out of the speakers?
No, the one that's got your spicy bees.
I honestly, it's been raining all week.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't really been out there.
So here, I do have one question for everybody here, and maybe Mark can help me with this. So I've always grafted my queens, and I've always used the cells. I've just simply with my day job. So I usually graft them. The cells go into the incubator, and then I transfer the cells from the incubator to the nukes. So this year I've tried a couple to try to keep a couple virgins. I have a hard time keeping them alive. Yeah, and I mean even for 24 hours. What's the secret? How do you do that?
Tell me what you're doing first.
So basically, as they come out. So what I did with I tried it with 4 of them here the other day. So I mean, they literally hatched out. So as they hatched out, I'd leave them in the little thing there for a little bit, and I mean, they weren't climbing up and falling down. So it's all foam. So even if they did fall down, it's not as bad. So about 2 or 3 hours after they hatch out, I let them crawl out. I marked them, and then I put them into a queen cage with a little tiny dab of honey, and closed them up. And I did that. So I marked them probably about 9 o'clock at night. Put a little dab of honey down at the end, closed them all up, and I laid the queen cage down inside the incubator. It almost looked like those things went down, stuck their head in the honey, and I don't know, died right there. All 4 of them did the exact same thing.
Too much honey is what it sounds like to me.
Just too much honey.
Too much. I use these hair rollers.
Yep.
Let me show you. See that little?
Can you?
Let me get it up.
Yep,
all right, now go ahead.
See the little indentions right there?
Yep.
Just put the honey in that, and then take your finger and wipe it off. Wipe it off. Every one of them. Wipe it off. Because if they get that honey on them, it's like they stick to everything, and then they die.
Okay.
Just a little bit in that little hole, and then wipe it off. And then that's where she's going to hatch. Okay.
Got her.
Then I'll put it in the JZBZ cage with the candy. Make sure your candy is very hard. Meet it when you think you got it. Meet it enough. Meet it some more and get it hard. Don't poke it in there like cutting a biscuit. Don't do that. Roll it like a little worm, and then stick it in, and then take your fingers and do this, and then take your powdered sugar, which I grind my own sugar, and on the inside put some powdered sugar, and on the outside some powdered sugar, and then poke it in there. That way it's not wet.
Yep.
She don't dig in there and then kill herself, right?
Got her.
So now,
getting that
are
candy
you-
right is key.
And
Yeah,
how long can you keep a virgin queen like that? Now I know you don't want to keep them very long, like that. but-
Well, you can keep them 3 weeks as long as they're fed good and you've taken real good care of them. But I mean, that's not ideal. Nobody wants to keep them that long. I usually don't keep them long. A week is about it.
Got her.
in the incubator, Mark?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't put a lot of honey on either. I mean, they've got that candy. The main thing is water. I may give them a little honey about every 3 days if I'm going to keep them very long.
Got her. Okay. Well, I'll try a little bit less honey. We'll see. We'll see if that
Huh?
makes a difference.
Honey is kind of like your enemy. You know, if you get too much, they're going to make a mess.
Right. Yeah. All 4 of them. I tried it with 4, and all 4 literally went down to the end, and it almost looked. And I didn't put a whole bunch, like a little bit on my finger, and I just kind of, rubbed it on the cap. But yeah, all 4 of them. It's almost like they went down there and, stuck their head in the honey and just died right there.
Yeah, just barely a little bit, and then wipe that excess off. It don't take much.
Okay. Well, we'll try that because I have some more that'll be hatching out here on Tuesday.
So are you putting the honey in before they hatch in that lid?
Yeah, I'll do that usually on Friday night.
And then
Get it all ready, and then they hatch on Sunday.
See, I have a bunch of those hair rollers and stuff like that too, but I just literally left the cells. I don't know if you've seen the foam. So I have one of those foams that I transfer in my incubator from the apiary to home. So it's a foam with and I just left the cells right in there. They hatched out right into that foam. And you take the lid off, they literally would walk right onto my finger. So I literally just held the leg, gave them, painted them, and then, walked them right into the queen cage. So
they got to have that food right when they hatch.
So
literally right when they hatch, they've got to have food right then. So whatever you hatch them out in, they need to be able to eat right then. If not, you're better off to do a C-section.
A C-section?
Yeah.
Pop them out of the cup.
Yeah, just go ahead and take them out of the cup, and it's less stress on them, and then put them in whatever you need that's got feed in it at that point.
Got her. Okay. Well, like I say, I've always just used the cells, so I figured, well, I'm going to try and I got more cells than what I have nukes, so I'm going to do a few things. I dug out my my AI equipment, so I've got my whole drone colonies there. So I'm going to I got to get some gas for it, but I'm going to practice the artificial insemination, and I'm going to have these queens, and we're going to hone my skills this year.
I think they got to be 9 days old, 8 days old, something like that.
So
before you can inseminate them.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I got the a book and stuff like that down there on it. I haven't read through it all yet, but being as I have drones up here, I can get drones going end of February. I actually had a colony up here that was right full of drones. So if I can get drones in the end of February, and I can graft, to get some queens, I should be able to have queens ready to go before the snow is gone. So I'm going to play with that a little bit this year, just to see what happens.
I would practice more on drones than anything. I would practice on drones. Just keep practicing on drones. Get that semen.
Well, they say can't you keep the semen in the freezer or refrigerator for a while?
No.
It'll keep it room temperature for 2 weeks, they say.
Right, but you can't freeze it. The whip or the tail on the semen from the bees is too long. And if you freeze it, that tail breaks off. So that I do know. I have got, I've read through that already. But yeah, like to freeze the semen, say in nitrogen or something like that, like they do with say bulls or livestock, you can't do it. The tail's too long and it breaks off.
I gotcha.
Well, what's his name? New River Honeybees. He
Hopefully
uses
you
a
don't have to harvest the sperm like they do bulls.
So
Horses.
you actually do. You
Mark,
take
just squeeze them.
Yeah, you take the drone, you squeeze it out, and then there's a little tiny
straw.
tool that literally goes and you suck the semen up. Yep.
I was being bad. You guys
So-
have seen the tool that they use for horses, right? So I was being a bad Bob.
But
Bob.
Jason over there at New River Honeybees, he has those nitrogen tanks where he keeps semen in there from different drones and stuff like that.
Yeah, they've actually got a whole they got a whole chapter on harvesting it, and they got a whole chapter on storing it. And that's one of the very first things they put in there is to say, do not freeze it in liquid nitrogen. So.
Yeah, about the only way I've heard to do it is just keep it room temperature, and you've got maybe 2 weeks at the most. So you need to have your virgins ready.
Well, I got no shortage of drones, so there's really no reason that I should have to keep it at all, really. So, something new, something I'm going to try.
So, Mark, on that hair roller cage, are you just filling one of those little sections with honey?
Yeah.
Is
What
it
I do is I take a
crystallized?
stick,
Yeah.
just get you a stick, dip it in the honey, and then just rub it on there, and then wipe the excess off. Close it. It's good.
Now, what about with water? Are you just taking your finger like dip it in a bowl and then use the tension that'll go across the screen or whatever? I've done that,
But now
Okay.
they do have candy in there too, so
Right.
And I put attendance in there. I didn't tell you that either, James.
Oh, you do put attendance in there with them?
Yeah. About generally speaking, about 24 hours, you better have some attendance in there. I don't know what it is. They get lonely and die. I don't know. And I'm playing with that. I've had 3 bees of one kind, 3 bees of another kind. I didn't put attendance in there, right? These over here died in 2 days. These over here have been a week, and they still ain't have attendance.
Got her.
What's the difference? Some are more social than others. They gotta be. I don't know, but I'm experimenting with it.
Do you think would there be a benefit if you? I mean, we know exactly when these cells are going to hatch out. I mean, in fact, with the temperature and everything like that, I think I was within hours this last time around. Would it be beneficial to have the attendance in there when she hatches out?
I've wondered that, and I can't figure out how to do it. I've wondered that.
Gentlemen, if I may, on that end, some of y'all probably think we're crazy.
Oh, we're all crazy. We're beekeepers.
But last year we stumbled on this by accident, James, and I don't know if it'll help you and maybe it's worth something to you or what. But we were overwhelmed with queen cells. All right. And we didn't have time to do the splits, honestly, due to weather coming in. So we cut, I think it was about 8 cells out that day. Had no idea how we was going to keep them warm. I had an empty aquarium that I had a bearded dragon in. Long story short, I lost her. But I still had the basking light for that bearded dragon, 100-watt basking light. I would cut them cells off and stick them just on a piece of foundation. There wasn't nothing covering them, anything like that. They was just as if they had come out of the colony right then, but they was on a piece of plastic foundation in an aquarium with that basking light. We hatched over 30 plus queens this way. Had 2 that were chewed out. Okay. Now we had different types of cages. Whenever they hatched, we put them in. We had a queen clip. We was basically getting to the point where every morning between 4 and 6 a.m. those queens were hatching.
At least one.
At least one. Well, we were running out of cages, so we used all our queen clips, kept them in there. We had what are the other ones? The JZ, or just like a transport clip. You put your queen and put your candy in.
Yeah.
Okay. We started putting them in there. Then we had some kind of other queen cage to where it was like a 2-piece that sat on top of itself and kept them in. We fed the queens. We fed them honey with a toothpick. We give them water with a Q-tip. Water was twice a day. Honey was once a day. And all we done is just on them little bitty squares like y'all talked about before, down low and at the bottom. At first, I was doing the same thing. I was putting that honey up high. We had 1 or 2 that got bound up in that honey and died. So what we started doing is putting that honey down low. So all she had to do was pull on it low. Give them that water twice a day. We kept virgin queens alive without 0 attendance. Well over a week. It got to the point to where we done so many splits between myself and a buddy down the road that whenever the queens were hatching, we called Dirt Rooster trying to send him some, the whole everything, but we was keeping these queens alive well over a week, just doing a little bit. But we kept them in the aquarium under that basking light, but pulled them off to the side just to fuzz so that the queens went directly in the light. They stayed warm overnight throughout the day.
Yeah, I got no worries trying to hatch them out. I actually have an incubator. So as far as keeping them warm and stuff, I just, like I said, because I've always used cells, I've never tried to keep the virgins alive. So that's something that I just tried, with 4 of them, and unsuccessfully, I'll admit. But like I said, I got 40 more that are going to be hatching out here right quick, and I'm gonna play with a couple more of them just until I get her figured out.
Yeah, like I said, James, some of them are more social than others. I don't know what it is. They'll just die within 2 days. Some of them will live all week and they're by themselves. I'll go ahead and put attendance in. Don't put young fuzzy bees in there. Go to where they're bringing the nectar in and shake your bees off. And well, you don't shake your bees off. Just get the ones that are feeding the cells of that nectar, because them are the bees that's not coming in. Them are the bees that are relaying it. They come in, they give it off to somebody else. Somebody else goes up there. That's the one you want. The fat ones, not the baby bees, because the baby bees are about to starve to death as it is.
So nope.
So Tim, with the Q-tip, did you put the tip of the Q-tip in the cage for her to suck the water out, or what?
We'd just take that Q-tip and, like on some of them cages that y'all are talking about, the hair rollers and the different other ones like that, they got them itty bitty small squares.
Right. And
we just take and dipped it down in some spring water, and you get that little bit of a teardrop on the end of that Q-tip.
Right.
Real easy. Take that Q-tip. Take the Q-tip with the little teardrop that's on the end of it, and you'll see that surface tension starting to break whenever you touch the top of that cage. Whenever you see that surface tension holding to that cage, just kind of pull it off to the side a little bit, and it'll lay right there in between those little triangles. It won't fall or nothing like that until she goes to pull on it.
So
okay,
we'll give that a shot. Like I say, I should have some more coming out Tuesday, so we're going to give that a shot.
So you're
I'm actually
applying,
I'm going
applying.
to have the 4. Go ahead, Charlie.
I say you're applying the water with the Q-tip then.
Yeah.
So,
Not
Okay.
leaving the actual Q-tip there.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
yeah, I got no issues watering them. Like I said, I've kept queens, in cages, watering them and stuff like that. The watering's the easy part. I just got to keep them alive.
While we're on
Yeah,
this
I did.
subject, Bob, these bullets,
Yep.
do they make these a little bit shorter?
I'm
'Cause
sure
that's about an inch long.
I can look. I'm sure they do. See if I can.
My-
Are they too big?
My ideal is to drill a hole right there in the end.
Right.
Put this right there. You got an automatic water.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, where it just drips.
Yeah.
What about the crystal
won't
that you
drip.
put in, Bob, as a sponge?
Yeah, I mean, that would work.
But it needs to be shorter. See, that's too long.
I'll look. I'll search and see if I can find a shorter one.
If we could find one that would fit that hole and just snap right in there. Of course, other than that, we would have to be hot glued in, but that way in shipping, you wouldn't have no problem. They'd have water. They could just run
Yeah,
there.
but if you put that little sponge
can-
crystal in there, it would suck the water up and then it would release it as they would suck on
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Normally shipping those like that though, Mark, aren't they upside down? Like if you were going to ship those,
Yeah, they would be. They would be like that.
right,
If you hot glued it in, you'd have to drill a hole in the lid.
at the bottom, yep. We
You
could
could
do
probably
that, though.
drill a hole in the lid and it would just be a little drip, like the tension. It wouldn't come out because it would put a vacuum on it, right? And then they would be able to just get it from the little weep hole.
Yeah. I'll look at something.
I'll look for you.
See it? Those plastic cages, Mark, are the ones I use.
Yeah, see, the hole and the wooden ones are about the same size. See, it would
Right.
be like
Yeah.
that. It's too loose. Needs to be shorter and fatter.
Now, are you talking about the bullet, or are you talking about me? I'm kind of shorter and fatter.
Short people are taking over the world, ain't they?
I thought I got the smallest ones.
What about like Ian showed that gel, the feeder, in that package that he got, and it was like a gel feeder. I wonder if
They-
you can find-
They
Huh?
make a vial that is smaller, it holds half the volume that this one holds. So,
How many do you have to buy, Bob?
well,
40,000 in a package.
no, I mean, I'd even buy my vials off of Amazon, and I think they come. Well, I'll show you exactly how they come. 500 pieces. So this is a 0.5 ml, and they have a 0.2, so it's a little bit less. And they come in strips. But it's $60. How many do you get for $60? 100? Wow. Oh, it's a strip, so you actually could fill them and then twist them off and stick them in. Actually, now you'd have to twist them and break them off. That's kind of high, though.
I don't want 60 of them for 100. I figure I'd get 1,000 of them for 60.
Well, if you bought the ones that I buy, you could get them cheaper. the ones I buy are 200 of the ones that size that I've got for $7.69 a piece, or for 100 or 200 of them. Sorry, so they're 4 cents each.
Now you're talking. I don't know. It was just a thought.
But I get 500 of them for $19.99. And I don't. Oh, that's the bigger one. Sorry, that's not the one I get.
Reason why I come up with that, if I go out on the truck and I'm gone for 2 days.
Well, the other
my
thing
wife,
you can do
my
is
wife forgets to come in here and water them, right? So then I come home, they're dead.
Well, you can do this. This would be an idea for you. You could
But
get
your dishes are clean, Mark.
Hey, Mark. You could get you some sponges and cut a sponge strip, right? A little tiny sponge strip and put it in there, and take you some toenail clippers or a clipper and cut the bottom off.
Right.
And put the sponge in there, just right in the little tube, and just put a few drops of liquid in there, moisten that sponge.
Yeah.
And then they could just grab it right out of the hole in the bottom.
There you go. Dab you a little hot glue on it.
Shorter.
Right. But that's an awful big hole, Bob. I'm afraid it'll just run right out of there.
Where's my?
I just want that hole big enough to where they can run their tongue down there and get it.
Like use a hot pin or something like that.
Yeah, just heat it up.
Boop, done. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think if you just put the pin in there, you could literally just
put the water. It wouldn't
put the water right in the vial.
The surface tension would stop.
Put it in the top, right? Because it's going to be upside down. The surface, just like a feeder, surface tension, and that they would have,
that sponge. Yeah, you're right.
They would have half a mil of water in there. I mean, it's only a day. A queen isn't going to drink half a mil of water in a day.
Right. Right.
So.
It ain't like it's got to be much.
If it's shaking and bouncing in the truck, that it might leave, the water might leak out, It's an idea.
Well, first I got to keep them alive.
Yeah. Well, I'll just be honest with you. I probably killed about 100 of them, James, till I figured it out.
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought I'd ask. So I'm at 4, so 96 to go.
Yeah. You'll figure it out. Just make sure that candy's not tacky.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty good with the
tacky.
candy. I mean, and I do the same thing. And the reason I put it in and squish it together is almost like it packs it in there, so it can't come out. If you use like a cookie cutter, I find it just falls out. If you really got to press it in there.
Right, and then add powder on each end.
Oh, the smoke is just killing my lungs up here.
So do you wear a mask when you go outside?
Well, I probably should, but I don't.
Right.
Well, y'all, I'm going to go to bed after 9 o'clock.
All right.
I got to go to baby shower tomorrow.
Yeah, you're going fishing.
Yeah, I'm going
They're
fishing.
big enough to stand in the shower.
I'm gonna have me an adult beverage tomorrow.
There you go.
And sit by the lake. So
have a good evening, Mark.
Y'all have a good one.
Hey, I want to say thank you to everybody that's posting videos of their swarm catches. I've been, if they tag me in them, I've been saving them to a playlist. And hopefully it's bringing them a few more subs. And at the same time, it's also helping promote my product. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
The swarm season is just about to start up here.
Well, I mean, the lure has gone better than I had imagined it would this year as far as getting out there. Hopefully next year will be even better. I mean, as things go along, and you guys are the guys that have helped push it out there. So I owe it to you guys. Thanks. Matter of fact, I got a message from somebody that got like one of the first bottles that didn't even have a label on it. And he said that he put it in the traps and he didn't get any bees even come to the traps. And then he put a competitor's brand in and they did come to it. And I said, I haven't witnessed that myself. I haven't had any reports of people saying that, but I didn't question it. I said, send me your address. I'll replace it with 2 brand new bottles. Don't know. So I just sent it to him. He's one
I'm
of
going
them.
to give it a shot.
Well, you're going to have good swarm management.
Well, I might have to mismanage a hive just to see if I can, if the swarm lure works.
Oh my gosh. You sound like Jason at Bohemia Bees now. I don't know. He's got me all nervous and everything because I don't know what lures he's using. I assume it's mine in one of those boxes in his thing, but I don't know. And one of his traps are catching a lot, and the other one not so much. But what I need to tell him is, hey, now reverse the boxes. And that way you take, if it's the location of the box, out of the mix, right? Do they still continue to go to that one colony? Or is it just happen to be the nearest box that they found first or something? You don't know. And I don't know which box is which lure or what lure is in either one of them. So we'll see when he does the reveal. If I'm lucky, maybe he's got my bullet in one and he's got the spray in the other. That would be beautiful because then I win on both accounts. But so,
I think that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, I know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It is what it is.
Oh, so I see one of the comments there, Charlie. The real Jamie Party. I think she's one of our 4-H parents up here.
Oh, okay.
So,
oh wow! And I was making off the wall comments, so now the kids are like, we can't watch that anymore.
Oh no,
you got kids and ladies in the room, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, we need to put a thing on the bottom. It's PG-13.
Yeah, these are farm kids. Trust me, they've heard it all.
Oh well, they know about the cattle and everything. Then they're good to go.
Absolutely. So,
well, you know, Charlie invited me to the Greater Baltimore Beekeeper Association meeting last night. I think it went really well.
Yeah,
first
it did.
time I've ever really spoke to anybody, a group of people that I'm not even in a bee club. So I was speaking to a bee club or with the bee club about stuff, and it was really fun, and I had a good time and enjoyed it, but it was new and unusual for me, you know, so we had a good time though.
Yeah.
Cruel and unusual punishment, Charlie?
Huh?
Were you implying cruel and unusual punishment to Bob?
No. This club, it's more of a Facebook club, and it's a group of us in the area where we had belonged to another club, and they had a coup, as I call it, and so we started this club, and I said, okay, you know, we'll do our own thing. And it's not like educational outreach type of club. It's more of I'll call it a social club of beekeepers. We just go out to, sometimes we'll go out to the local microbreweries, you know, and have beer and food and talk bees.
Hey, I can join a club like that.
Yeah, you know, instead of all the politics and crap, you know. And then last week they were supposed to do a live, you know, hive dive, as I call it, to go into one of our members' hives. And of course, it rained that weekend, and I was also away that weekend. And so they come up with this Zoom meeting, and the one lady asked whether or not I could get some people off of our live stream type thing. And so we talked about bee economics, different ways of making money in your backyard. At least maybe not make a profit, but defray the cost of beekeeping to a certain extent by, nuke sales. And Bob talked about, making, good heavy splits, things that you taught him this year.
And I gave you the credit, didn't I?
I actually taught Bob something. Woohoo! I'm a better instructor than I thought.
Well, the thing is that I really was trying to
I'll be back.
put into play that you can always learn something new, and sometimes you just get in that routine of doing the same thing year after year after year, and sometimes you have to step back and look, something I'm doing is wrong, and you need to get back on the track, right? So, and it's good to have an outside set of eyes or opinion that you trust to say, hey, and you were perfect. You were spot on. You said, look, I don't know your area and your temperatures and all that stuff, but this is how I would approach it. And on blind faith, I never held you accountable for anything that happened. I'm like, right? I said, all right, that's what we're going to do. And then I just did it. And it's made a huge difference,
And your apiary's gone.
Yeah. And there's a few things that we talked about, 5/5s, right? Don't take that nuke and drop it right in the 10 or the package. Put it in a 5-frame box, and then 5/5. Then take those 10 frames and put them in a 10-frame box when it's packed. And I've got, a matter of fact, if the weather's good this weekend, I'll probably do a video to show the difference between having put a nuke in a 10-frame box and putting a nuke in a 5/5. And
it's quite a difference.
It is. And I'll also show the difference between having a pack nuke, i.e. my starter finisher and the nuke and the splits that I made, right? So
see, we're on here, and this is a long weekend, so my honey made sure that I had enough for my coffee this weekend.
Let's see.
What a good wife I have.
But then we talked about, I don't know, equalization, and there were some folks that were new and they didn't understand that. And Lynn,
that's her.
And then
I can't argue whether she does the dishes here too.
Yeah.
Did you buy her a new car for it though?
No, she can buy her own damn car.
But we talked about that, and then like one of the ladies who was the head of it, she was, like they having swarm cells, or her bees were backfilling the brood chamber with honey. And I says, well, your honey supers are full.
Yep.
And she said, what do you mean? I says, well, 80% capped. No, not 80% capped, 80% full. Put more supers on. They're running out of there's no space above.
Yeah, that gives them time to build comb. And as they fill those and cap them, they can work up as the comb is drawn.
Well, she didn't understand the fact that it's not capped. It's full with nectar. Keep putting more on.
Well, and you're absolutely right, Charlie. But it's not just nectar. It's the same thing. If you've got a queen that's rocking it down there, right, and she's got 5, 6, 7 frames laid up between the pollen and the honey on the outside, that I use the 70-30, 80-20, same thing. I use 70-30. When 7 of those frames are being worked, whether it's honey or whether it's brood, right now it's pollen for me. It's unbelievable the amount of pollen that the girls are bringing in. Like, I mean, I've got to watch very closely that they don't pack themselves out with pollen, because they're bringing so much pollen in. But when 7 of those frames are being worked, they need more. They need another box. Get another box on them. You know, so not just
Now,
honey,
you're
it
you're
works
talking
the same thing
about
for everything.
the honey supers or the brood chamber in the area?
Well, it depends. So if you're running a single box to build them up, and they've got 7 of those boxes or 7 of those frames in that one single box they're on, they need another box, right?
Mhm.
So now move the honey up. You know what I mean? Move the empty frames down, and keep going. So,
Well, that's what I was trying to explain, and I was told Bob after the meeting. I realize there's a lot of folks that the concepts that you're coming out with that we understand. The newer beekeeper just doesn't get the concept most cases.
absolutely.
You know, like Scott was on here tonight, and he's the one I've been helping. He's got 8 frame equipment because he bought 8 frame because some guy was selling out, so that's what he got.
Yep.
So I've been going over there about once a week, and he's been doing well, managing it himself too. He said, "I'm going to go." He text me, "I'm going to go ahead and put some supers on." I said, "Go ahead," and obviously the flow's on, and he doesn't have wax, but I don't know what it is. His bees are drawing out the wax beautifully.
If the flow is on, they will. If they have a flow,
I'm only 1/8 of a mile away at the most, and mine are like, I put some supers on, and I'm like, what's the problem? Unless my 9 framers are drawing the wax out, I guess maybe that's what the problem is.
yeah, I've never had a problem with them drawing the wax when there's a flow on. It's never been an issue. What I did find interesting is with using the Apis biologics and the sugar water, that mimicked the flow as well, and I was able to draw fresh wax out using feeding the sugar water early this year as well, which is something new that I've kind of found out. So that's working, or that worked very well too. I'm past that part now, but the problem I've got right now is I got all these frames in the garage, and that I got to put together, and between traveling down to South Carolina and work and everything like that, my long weekend may be hammering 11 or 1200 frames together.
Well, it just his highs are, we've been going over there, and I go over there and I'm like, okay, they're all nicely drawn out, they're full. And I said, all right, put another frame of foundation on. He might have one where he had found drawn wax over top the queen excluder. And I said, well, to put the foundation on top of that one. And they're drawing it out like crazy, and and the rest of his hives are doing well. We had 3 of them we believe that were queenless, and we went ahead and I found got 3 virgins for him. We stuck them in, and he's got we had one dead out in the early spring, and anyway, we had a hive there that had queen cells. I said, well, put that in there and put some brood and some bees and restart and make a new hive. And I said, over a month's time, it'll be fine. So that's what happened.
I don't understand Philip Morse comment there. What is that? RTX honeybees is killing that queen instructing. What's that about? So if he's referring to the fact that I killed 4 queens by giving them honey, is that instructing? I would say no. But what I would say is if somebody else can learn from my mistake, then yes, I would say that is instructing. I don't know what he's getting at there, but I thought maybe somebody else might know.
I don't know.
We'll let him explain.
But if somebody can learn from a mistake that I make, which is part of the reason if you watch my videos, I make lots of mistakes. But if somebody can learn from my mistake, then absolutely I'm going to share it. And just the same way I learn from everybody else's mistakes. And I want everybody to learn from things that I've learned too. So things that are working well. So,
Well, that was
I-
like last night. I was in there listening, and then what it was Bob talking about or not was making sugar bricks, and I'm thinking, and they were talking about Apis biologic, and he said, take a mason jar and mix up some Apis with sugar water. And then, when you're making a sugar brick, it's 10 pounds of sugar and a cup of water. Well, instead of just a cup of water, make a cup of water that's got Apis biologic in it and put that in your mix. And I'm like, okay, now I got a sugar brick that's got Apis in it.
there you go. Do they
And
they make an Apis product? I know they make an Apis product to put in the pollen patty. Is that what you were using there, or you're just using the Apis biologics that goes into the water?
in the sugar water.
Control, yeah, for the water.
So I don't know how that would work or not. I always, I caution people to try and use the product that these guys design. Try to use it the way they want it to be used. Not saying it can't be used some other way, and try it. I mean, I never thought of trying to use it in the water that way.
Well, the thing is, I don't have that issue. Like, I don't have to put sugar bricks on because our weather, they can fly almost all year long, right? So last year I kind of did like you did, but I didn't direct feed it on the colonies to pack them out. I left open feed out so the foragers could come and get it and take it back, which allowed me to not have to put sugar bricks on the colony. So I just used it in that instance, which allowed them to keep brooding a little bit more. And that was the idea, is that, well, if they'll brood, I'll have bigger, stronger colonies, because I guess my thought process was, if they're flying and they're brooding a little bit, that they're getting the nutrition they need to maybe brood a little bit more and make that colony stronger so it doesn't dwindle down as far. And
perfect.
And it did work. I mean, obviously I had some queen issues that it wouldn't have mattered if I would have, give them IVs of Apis biologics. It wouldn't have mattered, right? So,
but I mean, it's good to do things like that, because if nobody ever tries, nobody ever knows, right?
Right. So everyone was like, oh, and that's kind of when I try to do something outside of the box, are we stopping putting liquid feed out because that's just what we've always done? Everyone says, oh, well, you got to stop feeding them, at this time of the year. So everybody just stops feeding them and starts feeding them 2-to-1 and starts putting sugar bricks on. I understand that if you get snow and your bees are in for 6 months, that's a difference from mine. New Year's Day, my bees are out flying and sunning. Mine are chilling with sunglasses on and a cold drink next to them. And you guys are all, bundled up. So it's like, if they're flying, my thought was they're burning those resources that they need later on when it does get cold. They've been burning through their resources. So why wouldn't I keep the feed on them as long as I possibly could?
I think I would.
And
I think I'd do probably the exact same thing. And Lord knows, well, pretty much everybody on the channel here, like Charlie and yourself, and everybody probably knows, I don't exactly follow the traditional ways of beekeeping.
I like to. We were talking. You were talking about that heat machine for your drones, but then I was thinking about queens.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could, first you got to have the drones for them to mate. You can have all the queens you want, but if I can start grafting in April and guard against the heat, the fluctuating of heat.
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, I could actually, get some early queens up and running. And I think the drone population would be just about right at that point in time too.
Yeah.
and all that. But you say, what is it? The bug man?
The bug farmer.
The bug farmer.
Yeah.
And that would be interesting. I'd have to have a colony that it has to be close to electricity to make that thing work.
Yep.
I thought it was Man Lake that had a heated box for sale, like the bug farmer's heater. They either knocked it off or something, because he's the first person I've ever seen use it. And
I'm pretty sure he was the one who designed it, just for the record.
And I think I think it was Man Lake. I can't find it now, but I think it was Man Lake. Yep. 10 frame hot box kit. $69.95. So let me see if I can present this thing, and Charlie has to add it. Let's see. Can you add that for me, Charlie? And it says, our hot box was designed specifically with beekeepers in the northern climates in mind. Though it can be used in southern climates depending on the temperature, the hot box helps maintain proper temperatures in the hive throughout the winter months, made from a pine shallow super with wire boundaries on top and bottom with insulation in the center. Includes a moisture board, only available painted black only. But for some reason, I was thinking this was heated.
Not.
Yeah, it doesn't. It might be just because it's black.
But why would it have spacers on it like that?
Yeah, to prevent or to allow airflow. I didn't think you would get it for $69.95. The electronics that the bug farmer puts in his boxes are probably, $60 or so on there, right?
Oh yeah, so they would charge at least $200.
Yeah.
If they knocked it off. But I had just saw that and I was like, hot box, what?
So what they do? Drill a couple holes in that thing and put a few spacers on the corner?
Yeah, and paint it black and put a screen on top of it. So,
Look, y'all call me and y'all can buy them for $45.95. I'll build them for you all day long, Jack.
But yeah, that's I mean, Man Lake's notorious for knocking stuff off. So that's I just thought, like, man, did they knock that off?
I don't know. That is pretty sorry to take one man idea and profit off of it to gain for your own self, in my opinion.
Well,
and like I say, the bug farmer shows everybody how to make them. So he gives
He
you a
does?
list. Yeah, he gives you a list. I think he's broke it down into 3 or 4 videos there, just shorter videos. But yeah, he shows you exactly how to build them. He gives you a list of material there. He does a really good job of it.
oh, here's something good, possibly. So 8 minutes ago, Peerco put out an ad. For a limited time only, they've got boxes for $15.50 each. So by the time you add shipping on it, they'll be $79.95 each. And I don't know. I mean, but $15.50 a piece. If you buy it, a pallet of 60 boxes, $959. Oh, that's medium. Shoot, what's the deep? That's high.
They're only putting 60 in a pallet.
They're assembled already.
Oh, okay, got it. I was gonna say I buy a pallet of boxes up here. There's 200 boxes on the pallet.
And that's special 7/8 lumber.
That's right. That's 7/8 Canadian.
Canadian,
lumber.
yeah. We can't fool around with any 7/8 American wood.
And don't even start about over in Europe. Yeah.
They've got
so
84.
So here's one.
Their math is off. They got 84 boxes, $15.50 a piece. And they say is that $1,302? Is that accurate? Or is that including shipping? 1302 divided by 84. 1550. What's the shipping? It doesn't say the shipping. So you might as well add $400 to that.
That's like 2 million Canadian.
Mm-hmm. For me, it'd be $400 extra to have it shipped. So if you take 400 and divide it by 84, that's another 476. So guess what? You're paying $20.26 ship per box. So,
Well, maybe they can find my suitcase and put it in my suitcase. Maybe they can set it back that way.
yeah. Yep. They still haven't fixed it, evidently. Saracel, where you're at, you might be just as good to order it from. Hell, you could probably order it from Dancing Bee. Probably get it just as quick.
Where's who's looking for what?
Minnesota.
Russell.
Oh yes, I bought Saracel Bee Escapes from.
Let me see what they are on Dancing Bee. Dancing Bee equipment. Oh, that's Canadian dollars. Let's go to the US dollar. Are they having, I mean, they're still, well, I guess it's.
Have they got their US site set up now?
Yeah, it's set up. Hopefully they, well, you can get the Quebec Bee skateboard with the triangle in it for $17.75 US. Red cone. I don't even, let me see. I might have to just search Saracel on their site. They may not even carry it. Wow, I didn't even know Saracel carried pumps, but they'll never see my dollar at 1.5-inch pump for $3,900 US.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'll get with Brad about the gear pump.
Yeah, I think he gets his. I think he gets a brass gear pump from. Where do you say, Princess Auto or PV Mart or something?
Is it? It's not food grade though, is it?
Brass is. Yep, absolutely.
What? It's 1.5-inch pump.
Well, I think you can get them 1.5 and 2-inch. Yep.
They use it on couplings for water line all the time.
Exactly. Yep.
Let me see.
It don't mix good with well water, I'll tell you that. But
well, not if the well water's got iron in it.
Ours does down here real bad. We try to tell folks, if you're doing any building and all that, stay away from brass fittings if you want a pump. If not, 5 years, you're going to be very upset.
Yeah, you're probably better off down there with plastic then, eh?
Yes, sir. That's what we replace everything with.
Yeah. Plumber.
I don't need to look at a gear pump. If I look at a gear pump, then that's going to make me want to buy something that I don't need to buy for $2,000 or $4,000 or.
Oh, but it's another gadget, Bob.
I don't. Oh yeah, I made that on the chat last night too. Well, they call me the gadget guy, so I'm bringing out stuff off the side. I still got my my yellow queen mascot is right here.
There you go.
We were talking about marking queens. I said, well, once you kill one, you can mark her over and over again. You can just practice marking her. Perfect. Change the color. You know,
here's my rainbow queen.
That's it. You know, next year I'll have to update her to a red dead queen instead of a yellow dead queen.
Oh man.
I actually kept that specific because I had someone from the university ask me if they could come and get dead bees so they could encapsulate them in acrylic as some piece of, I don't know, jewelry or something. I don't know.
They make big money off of that.
Off of dead bee jewelry?
You got her.
I'm in the wrong business. I can kill
Call
some.
me again.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said, call us again. I'll sell them to you for $3.99 on the dead bees.
Well, actually, the 4-H club up here is going to be doing exactly that. So they've got a bunch of things you're going to do for the to put their everything together in their table, and for the honey and the wax and everything like that. They're going to do all of that. So there's they've got, some of these kids are amazing. Some of the ideas they come up with.
It would be pretty cool to put some, just say, I know a lot of you guys talk about replacing your queens every 2 years, so on and so forth, but they take some of your best queens and put in some epoxy or something like that would be a pretty cool little piece, like you say, especially for them youngins to study.
Yep. I never thought of that. They'll I could give them queens if they wanted. Actually, I could give them a queen, I could give them a worker, I could give them a drone. So the pennant that they'd put up would be like this big,
I've got I did stumble upon something today. So my niece called me to do pest control on this new place she bought, and she had a dead refrigerator. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that refrigerator? Oh, we're replacing it. It's just moved out of the way. I said, I'm gonna come get it from you. So there you go. My honey heater is gonna be a dead refrigerator.
I was thinking 30-30 and some tannerite.
Blow it up.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever seen those videos on YouTube where they're hog hunting and they put tannerite around the feed pile and then they shoot the tannerite and blow all them pigs to hell?
It's brutal.
They take them all out.
Hey, but for them old boys that's got that land, though, they happy to get rid of them things.
And then you see the guys in the helicopters that fly over and shoot the hogs out of the helicopters.
Now that part I might get to, but I couldn't just blow them up.
So a bronze gear pump at Man Lake is $1,600.
Well, that's better than $3,900.
Yeah, but if Man Lake's selling it for $1,600, guaranteed you can buy it cheaper somewhere else.
I think if you talk to Brad, I think he got it at like Princess Auto or PV Mart or something. So I forget where he said he got it.
Is that the type of pump Mr. Ed has?
I don't know. You just got to get the tubing right. So I'd have to plumb it from like the uncapped as well. I'd have to drain all my honey into the clarifier. Then I'd have to pump that honey out of there to the bottling tank, right? Once it's clean. Oh, this sign right here. I got that sign. It was posted up on Facebook. It was one of those Facebook ads thing. And I think it was like $30-$40 or something. I don't know.
Now, Mr. Ed, he had a gear pump and that thing locked up because of all the particles. Then he had to get it
locked up from the wax, I think, wasn't it?
A wax, yeah. And then he got is it a lobe pump? Where it intermeshes somehow like a lobe?
I'm not sure. I do know that Brad said you really got to watch. You got to keep the wax out of that one he's got too. So
a lobe pump.
I think that's what it was. You have to look at that video.
Oh.
Yeah. I got stuff to finish. So, good night, y'all. I'll see y'all.
All right, man. Yeah, we're getting ready to get out of here.
Alpha Laval.
I gotta finish my one.
Get that done.
I like when they say it's cost effective, but they don't give you the price. You have to get a quote from them, which means it's more than I can afford, or more than I want to afford. We'll say that. I never just bought one box. I bought the 4-box set. Yeah, I
Good night, Alex.
Typically when I buy boxes, I go, well, in the past I've just gone over and bought like 20 boxes or something, and 25 boxes, 50 boxes, whatever I needed at the time. And usually it's more than I need at the time.
I used to buy 50 boxes. Oh, what's that?
I got called out, but no response to my explanation.
Oh, what was the explanation?
We were running our mouth. Hold on.
Let's go back and take a look. And yeah, they haven't found my luggage yet. So actually, well, I shouldn't say that. I think they found it in Jersey. I never went to Jersey.
Your luggage went to Jersey?
Where's his response?
Oh, it says from your video today, you told Bob to replace that mean queen.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't found it yet. But, you know, right now, I don't know if it's kind of the weather or what, but it's hard to tell because some of them are spicy just because of that, you know?
Right.
So
what I do is, now I've spent a lot of time selecting my genetics. So I'll back up and I'll just explain why I was telling Bob to kill that queen. I spend a lot of time in genetics with my bees. I want calm bees, produce lots of honey, lots of brood, build up quick, things like this. And I can walk through my apiary all day long. I can sit on the hive if I want to, not get stung. I got out of my car at Bob's place and was, I'm going to say 40 yards from the hives. And all of a sudden it's like, zip! And I was like, ow. And I pull the stinger out and I haven't even let go of the stinger. And another one goes, zip. And I'm like, ow. So,
well, mine's like a petting zoo. You got to drive up in your car with the window and just kind of look, and see how.
That's what Bob was saying. He says, here's how we check bees. He drives through his apiary in the truck with the windows up, right? How's that one doing? Oh, this one looks good. How's that one doing over there? That one's good.
Lots of bees flying today. Good to go.
So what I do is when I'm in there and if I find a hive that is, call it hot, call it spicy, the genetics that I don't want, then yes, 9 times out of 10, it's got to do with the genetics of them. Now, there's a caveat to that. And here's the caveat, and I told Bob the same thing. If you go into your hive, and every time you go into your hive, you kill bees, they're very quickly going to remember that you're a threat to that hive. Where if you go into the hive and you don't kill bees, you don't roll bees, you use a smoker, Bob.
What's that?
That's that thing that I'm pretty sure I lit of yours for the first time. I think it was the first time it was ever lit.
Hey, it was in the back of my truck. Still had leaves and everything in it.
I think it was moss. I think there was moss that was thrown in there. And that's what I had to light up. But so anyways, where I was trying to go is if they're bees, you don't threaten the bees every time you're in there. I'm pretty sure you end up with a bit of a calmer hive too. So a lot of my bees, I sell a lot of my nukes to new beekeepers, to things like that. And I want a calm, mild genetic bee. So
So James is sending me, I don't know, let's see, 58. He's going to send me 58 Canadian queens down, mild-mannered Canadians, that they'll come down and they'll just redo my whole yard. So see, now I'm grafting from the best of what I got. But if they're still spicy, then I'm just still propagating spicy queens.
Yeah, you got some good hives. Like that Carney hive that we were in. Now, I know you don't have many Carney hives, but any hive that's mannered like that, you'd be just fine.
But I haven't been back in it to see the status of that queen, if she's flown out and come back or anything.
Yeah, you probably should pretty quick, because if you don't, you're going to end up with laying workers. So you should get it. You should get in that hive as soon as you can. I mean, if it's raining and stuff, there's nothing you can do. But you're going to want to get in there and make sure you got eggs.
This week, well, let me check the weather.
I can lift the window up and check the weather. Yeah, still smoky.
Tomorrow it's cloudy in 81. However, Sunday it's raining again.
Well, sounds like tomorrow's your day.
Yep. And then all next week it'll be beautiful while I'm working. So, but we're still getting those nights that we're getting to the 50s here, which is I'm just saying it's very abnormal for our area to still be getting in the 50s. And, for you, it's not unusual, but for us, it's kind of out of the norm. And, so I'm really curious what's going to happen as far as our flows, because stuff would be so hot it would start turning brown and wilting, but that's not happening. We're getting milder temperatures, we're getting rain, so it might be a bumper crop this year.
It rained every day I was down there,
except for the day you were here.
I know it rained that night.
Oh, at night. Yeah, it did actually rain that night.
It rained every night I was down there. I don't know how. Actually, I don't know how you guys breathe down there, because what were they saying? It was 94% humidity or something that day. That was just like, you walk out and it's like, what is it, raining? Oh no, that's me. I'm raining.
Yes,
I'm melting. I'm melting.
The honeybee compound said, Bob, this is called spring. That's not spring here. That's not normal spring for us. Would you agree, Tim? It's milder where you're at than it normally is?
It has been cooler longer this year versus past years, most definitely. This time last year, well, in March, we was already 90 plus degrees with, well over 80% humidity type thing. If we see, I'm going to say 75% humidity, I mean, that's paradise.
Yeah, we're in 87% right now.
That's
87% humidity right now.
Yeah. All I can say is I'm sure glad the hotel had air conditioning.
What I mean, the first time you went out of the hotel and you were like, what was your thought? God almighty.
I was like, damn, it's hot.
You just walk outside and start sweating for no reason.
Well, when you walk outside and your cool beverage instantly becomes like a commercial where the water drips coming down it, it's like, wow, it's not that hard to make these commercials down here, but it was. I walked outside and it's like, whew, okay, my cold beverage is done. I'm going back inside.
Come deal with it when it's 86 degrees at nighttime and you're out of power for 2 weeks because of a hurricane.
Ooh. I don't know how your lawn keepers down there. It was like 94 degrees or some dumb thing, and they're out there in a sweatshirt and their heads all done up, and they got this
that's because
long
we
coat on
imported
it
from Mexico.
Ooh, they looked like they were freezing out there, and I was like a pool of James mush.
So you got to think about it, though. I mean, a lot of them come up from Mexico here. So that'd be the same as if I came up to Canada and was doing your lawn, and I'd be like, oh, this is great. I'm just walking around mowing and backpacking it. And I mean, it's probably a pretty dramatic difference for them. But
a lot of the old timers around here during farming often wear long sleeve shirts, the old timers would wear long sleeve shirts during farming season, even in July and August type thing.
Well,
they said protect from the skin cancer.
Everybody gives me a hard time because I always wear jeans. It could be 94 above, I'm wearing jeans. And Everybody's like, how do you do that? Oh, that's for your benefit. So you don't have to see these white chicken leg things walking around, right? So it's not for my benefit. I do that for everybody else's benefit. Trust me, you don't want to see these babies out.
Well, it's about 11 o'clock here, so I'm going to end the broadcast. And
Well, have a good night, everyone. And
yeah.
Charlie's got to work tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead.
It's a
and
long
end it.
weekend up here.